This week in PlayStation, we're talking about the new PlayStation VR 2 details, our GTA 6 wish list, and Knights of the Old Republic being on pause. Can it ever recover? We'll talk about all this and more because this is PS I Love You XOXO. Welcome to the show, everybody. That's Blessing. That's Janet. I'm Greg, and you can get this show on patreon.com/KindaFunnyGames. There you can watch us record it live, get it ad-free, and get the weekly post show. If you have no bucks to toss our way, support us on the Epic Game Store, Fortnite, Rocket League, or wherever you can use the creator code KindaFunny. You can get PS I Love You XOXO for free with ads and without the post show on youtube.com/KindaFunnyGames, roosterteeth.com, and podcast services around the globe each and every week. Thank you to our Patreon producers, Fargo Brady, Delaney Twinning, James Hastings, Casey Andrew, Gordon McGuire, and Al Tribesman, the Predator. Today we're brought to you by MeUndies and Chime, but let's start with a PSN message. Blessing and Janet, how the hell are you?
Oh, you're going to go first. I'm not going to go first. You're going to go first.
I thought you were doing like a pregnant pause, so I didn't want to interrupt your pause. I'm good. I think I'm good. I feel like it's always a quick second. Good? Yeah, I'm doing pretty good.
Why do you only think you're good?
I've been moving too fast to really think about it.
You haven't taken a personal inventory of how you're doing.
Yeah. It's been very go. But I'm coming up on a vacation pretty soon, which is exciting.
You are. What are you going to do?
Yeah. I'm going to Napa Valley, and I have booked a wine train and then a tea train for the day after. So it's like a train that goes through a couple different wineries, and they give you like food and drinks. And I am curious as to how we will pace ourselves on this journey. I hope
the classic problem of a Napa wine too.
I have concerns, right? And the thing is, like, I drink pretty frequently, but I drink beer. I don't drink wine frequently because wine is too unknown, you know. You get it, and then especially you keep refilling it. Like, it's just this. I'm not good at keeping track.
So wait, that's why it's an unknown? That's why it's an unknown. Not like alcohol volume. It's just the fact that you're never sure how much you've drank because people are constantly refilling your glass.
The volume doesn't help either. It's like a bad combination. It's like it's strong, and then it's like,
especially
and then also
if you're drinking like a dry wine.
You're
drinking like a dry wine, and then you're like, well, I need more because now I'm still a little thirsty, you know.
Yeah, like
also
from the
too,
wine,
like so the wine will solve the parchment.
Just dig up.
Got it.
Two, I think what is it? Like you can drink it more easily. Like I like one reason that's nice to like drinking beer is I can really only have a few, even if like I had to like for some reason if I had to drink more, like I can only have a couple. But it'll be fun. I'm going with Maggie, who is now my sister-in-law. It's our first trip together as sisters, so
hell yeah,
should be fun.
Start some sister traditions. I don't know what a sister tradition is.
We got some sister traditions.
We're just gonna. I've never had a sister before, so I was like, "Yeah, let's go."
Blessing, you have a sister. Give me your sister
about
tradition.
Edwin and Isaiah, like it'll be a fun time.
I have 3 older sisters. Our tradition is just that they bully me. If I'm being real, they just get together and they talk about how, oh man, he's a boy and he's the youngest. We don't like him. I don't know how many sister traditions aside from that.
It's never too late to start one.
Just hang out. Also, Janet, is that Lakers jersey or shirt or whatever? Is it upside down or is it just the logo?
That's the design of the logo. It's made by like a small creator who like goes by the handle Goldenite, and they do a bunch of funky like prints and stuff. And I just like the look of it. I like that it's the alternate colors too, the blue and white.
Janet can read it when she looks down at her sweater, you know.
Oh yeah, I got it for myself. That's the difference, right? Like when people get the tattoos upside down. But yeah, I like it. I think it looks cool. So there you go.
But is it related to the Los Angeles Lakers, or is it just these people? Okay.
Yeah, it's a Lakers. It's like a Lakers sweater.
But it's like anti-Lakers.
So like this independent creators doing it, but they're doing it for the Los Angeles Lakers.
Well, no, they just do it like it's kind of like how you can make fan art, right? So they like their specialty is, well, I guess they do a couple sports, but their specialty is LA.
Upside down logos.
Well, they'll do funky designs. So they'll do some upside down ones. They have a lot of the funky crossover stuff of like, oh, it's Dragon Ball Z, but like Lakerify it, which I'm not a fan of that stuff. I know some people really like that stuff. But they do other stuff like, you know, they'll have Dodgers gear or whatever. And yeah, I like it. I think it looks cool. So Any other
It is
questions?
fresh. I do like the colors.
Also,
colors
people
are
in the chat
nice.
are asking if my like nose is that nose ring new or whatever. It's just a fake piercing. It's a fake thing. Fake.
No, we talked about this before we went live. It's because
Yeah.
you can't commit to it. Plus, everyone you know hates it, but you like cows.
Yes. So that's why I was like, oh, I had a fake septum piercing for a while, like a fake piece of jewelry for that part, but I lost it. So I'm like, oh, I've been wanting to order another one. So I finally did off just Amazon. The quality's what you expect from Amazon.
It did really throw me off because it's one of those things of when you get a septum piercing, it's like when my wife got one, it was just I can't imagine her without one now. So it's just like, it was one of those things where I finally noticed it on you, and I was like, oh, has Janet just been wearing this for like the last like year and a half, and I just haven't noticed?
That's what all of chat said. They're like, has this always been there? Like, yeah, that's just like if I feel like it, you know.
Now, Barrett, she's faking it, but you live with the septum piercing. You know a lot about it. What are you getting a lot of boogies caught in it? I feel like you get boogies caught in it all the time.
Not boogies caught in it, but it is one of those things like even just last night where Alyssa had to blow her nose, and just depending on the quality of the ring itself, it might like fall out or something, or you usually like want to try to take it out to blow your nose, just so it's not getting in the way, you know, because it'll probably feel weird. But not a lot.
We'll get to PlayStation. We'll get to PlayStation in 1 second here. The other thing I wanted to close the loop on was Blessing. We just heard about Janet and wine. What's your stance on wine? You getting fucked up on wine a lot?
No, I'll drink wine if I have friends or people around me that are drinking wine, but wine isn't necessarily a go-to for me. If I am drinking wine or if I had to order wine, I'll usually go for a Pinot Grigio or a Pinot Noir. I'm trying to get crazy to go Chardonnay.
Blessing.
See, I'll only drink red. I only drink red. I've never once ordered white.
I hate white as well because we're the same.
I like white wine a lot.
It's too sweet. Like I don't like how sweet it is.
Exactly.
Yeah, that's the only reason. That's the only way I'll have wine. But I like that Blessing almost like outed himself a little bit, where he was like, "I'll only have it like with friends," but then I never really have it. So it's like Blessing saying like, "I'm never with friends."
I know. I never with friends that have it.
No, never. Is that Snoop Dogg wine a Pinot Grigio? Because whenever I see that wine now, I think of you from that time. You're like, I bought this because the Snoop Dogg made it.
I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure that's a red.
I'm pretty sure that's a red wine, but I got it because it had Snoop Dogg on the bottle. Yeah. Like that was the reason why I had to do it.
I like DM'd you on Instagram. I'm like, oh, is this wine good? And you're like, I have no idea.
Yeah, no, I couldn't tell you what wines are like. All white wine tastes the same to me. All red wine tastes the same to me. I'm not a good gauge.
That's an outrageous thing to say.
Ethan,
like, don't get me wrong. I am not somebody here swilling it, going, I get the hints of chocolate. But I'm definitely telling you, I could pour you 2 different glasses of red wine, and you'd be like, these
Greg
taste
is like on his way to be a sommelier, you know?
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
just like, I can tell where the grapes are grown just by a single swig.
That's all.
When it comes to cider is where I become more of a connoisseur. I'm like, oh man, no, I need the good stuff. Oh yeah, I love cider. It's my go-to.
What's the best cider you've had? Because I've only really had like Angry Orchard, and I feel like that's like the bottom of the barrel for cider.
There's a cider. Let me double check because I only had it recently and it blew my mind. It's called Ace Cider. They have it at the liquor store down the road from me, and it is it was guava flavored. And let me tell you, that shit slapped. That shit was amazing. Or sorry, it smacked. I should say smack because people don't like when you say slap for non.
Right, for not,
Yeah.
Wait, for what? Why don't we like slapped anymore?
So slapped is for music, right? If something if like something has like loud bass or something goes hard, this song slapped. But if you're talking about food, you're supposed to say, "Oh, this smacked."
Huh.
Yeah, it's a Bay Area thing.
Because for everything, but
music can slap you in the face, but when food is good, it makes you smack your lips.
No, I understand. I get it. It just seems like we're getting into the weeds about it or whatever.
Honestly,
I know it's also confusing because Raleigh also in the chat says money also equals smackers.
Smackers.
Yeah,
I haven't heard that though in forever. Like 8 smackaroons. Like who's saying?
I was trying to bring it back for a while, Janet, and it just didn't take off. But if you're back on with me, I'll be back on with it.
I can't get on with smackers. Too close to smuckers.
We're talking about yeah. How did you know that from upstairs?
Jen's a businesswoman. She's like, if we're talking smackaroons, let me pull up a chair. You know what I mean?
Now, the one thing I do want to tell, we have a question from Chris Childers about PlayStation. I swear we're going to get there. But the one thing I do want to point out is, months ago now, Blessing and I were like, we don't hang out enough. We need to start hanging out. The pandemic's getting a bit better. Let's hang out. And so Bless came over, but then we immediately went out for pizza. Because Ben hadn't even been born yet, right?
No, I think
was he?
I think he might have been. Yeah, I think it was like when he was fresh out.
No, Jen was on her deathbed, and she was like, "You guys can't hang out in the house. Go away." And so we went out for pizza. But beforehand, I had gone out and I had bought him ciders, and so that there would be ciders here for him to drink because we were just going to drink. And then we came back and we played video games. But we were already kind of fucked up, so we didn't drink anymore. And let me tell you, I dumped those ciders down the goddamn drain.
No,
They sat around forever, and like no one here is ever
what?
going to be like, you know
Why
what I
didn't you
want is a
give him-
refreshing cider.
Why didn't you give them to Bless though?
That
Because he lives
hurts
like in
me
the area.
so much. You
Yeah, I
can
feel
drop
like you
them
should have
off to
sent
me.
him on his way with the cider.
Yeah, with the
Greg.
ciders.
Yeah.
Janet, why don't I give away any of this stuff to you people? I don't ever see you. I have
don't know.
so
Well,
many
there's the,
things for everyone in
and the
this
one
company.
time the
but they
blessing
all
is
stay on the
there.
goddamn
Drive
floor.
right?
That hurts
Good
me.
Lord.
Even if it's not like a good cider, like even
not-
like a
yeah,
like a bad cider is still pretty
Here's the thing.
refreshing. you know?
I understand, but I don't understand the not offering to Bless. Because I get if Bless was like, no, I can't take it for some reason, then yeah. Because you do end up being like, what am I going to hold this on?
It's also like
I
they're not
still
gonna-
have,
they're not gonna
You've missed
expire.
the connective tissue there. We came back and we were already drunk, and then he left. I'm sorry that I'm not at the top of my fucking mind. Was hey, my pregnant wife's upstairs dying. Blessing and I are fucked up, and we just played. I don't remember we
How
played.
small is your refrigerator where you just can't just keep it in the back there somewhere? You have to make
The
space
better
for
question is
all
how
the
much
new food
beer
you
do I
buy.
keep in my refrigerator, and it's a lot.
Mm.
So when
Yeah,
I started
also-
competing for space with these cider cans, like you gotta
Steven in
go.
the live
Yeah.
chat saying, just pouring the smackaroons down the drain.
I know, Greg. Jesus Christ. And I just want to say, Greg, if it was you and me, we would have kept drinking even if we were already fucked up.
Bear and I are dangerous together. We've learned the hard way many times. The PSN message comes from Chris Childers, who writes in and says, "Hi, KindaFunny gang. I have a huge
Hey.
question. What if halfway through the game, and this is a piggybacking off of our God of War Ragnarok conversation from before, where we did our FAQ and we had a whole bunch of theories about there's got to be something in this game. There's got to be a moment. Maybe we play as Atreus. Maybe something else happens. Yada, yada, yada. Chris says, what if halfway through the game, they pull a big Metal Gear Solid 2 situation, but bigger? Where halfway through the game, I don't know why or how, but what if you take over as Thor and you have to hunt down Kratos? Just a thought. Thanks for everything you do." That's a fucking awesome idea.
I mean, what is this going to take? Like the Tilo 2 structure of like.
It's exactly that.
Oh
At the
yeah,
end-
that is
converging.
exactly the Tilo too.
At the end,
know?
Thor is forgiven Kratos, but Kratos is still really angry.
Yeah.
It starts off
What-
with Thor with a golf club beating it.
Also,
Atreus'
spoilers
ass.
for Last of Us 2. But I mean,
Headshot.
I don't. Yeah, I mean, I think that'd be fun in the novelty of it, and I would think that like if they did that, they'd have a good reason for it. Like that's what I'd like to think. So that
Yeah.
that could be cool, but I don't think that's gonna happen.
Oh, I don't
feel
think it'll
like.
happen. I just
You know
like it
what I
as a
mean?
thought starter because it is interesting that when you think about what we know about God of War Ragnarok, right? What the first thing we saw, even before the gameplay, right, were those character shots where they put out the one of Kratos, they put out the one of Atreus, and they put out Thor, and they introduced Fat Thor, and we were all like, "Oh, that's not the Thor we were thinking about." And like, well, this isn't the MCU, so it would be interesting to see how they're going to flesh him out and what
Everything's
they're
the
going to do.
MCU.
Yeah.
I do think though, I feel like that kind of structure and twist like that they're describing only wouldn't maybe be as powerful as it was in something like Tilo 2, where that was very much like an exercise in forced empathy in regards to the player of like, hey, we made you feel, well, the attempt would be to make you feel like one way, right? They kind of, it's assumed that you give a shit about like Joel and stuff. Granted, I don't really care about Joel that much, but I'm like, I secondhand cared. I was like, okay, you seem affected by this. So like, I feel you, it's rough. And then they kind of flip the script and then kind of force empathy onto you so that when you come back, you have a changed perspective. I think that kind of back and forth or even kind of inversion that they're describing wouldn't be effective because I think we have, it's hard to imagine the attachment to Kratos being able to flip back and forth in the same way because I think they're pulling on different emotional threads. Like 100%. I think a lot of the emotion from God of War comes from it's funny because both of them have the parental thing, right? The examination of a parental relationship, but I don't think it would quite hit that same way. But that's not to say that you can't. That's the only way
the
you
bigger
can switch
thing,
characters,
it's very much. I'm with you, but I think there would be there's so much. I guess there is for Ellie too, but like I feel like not many people are gonna want to go hunt down Kratos. They love Kratos. They want to be Kratos, right? And like even in Last of Us, right? Part 2 spoilers. Right, we went and when we played Abby, we weren't on Abby's journey to then kill Ellie. We were on her journey, right, just to exist and live and find a life after actually completing her mission, which would have been very different, I feel, if we went after her. Like, I don't know what they could give us storyline-wise to justify us playing as Thor and hunting Kratos and feel like, yeah, this makes sense.
And I think that's the tough thing for me is if you do that, you run the risk of running too close into The Last of Us Part 2 and then just being critiqued as a one-for-one copy. I in terms of plot, what they would and maybe could do would be make it a thing where it's not about this like Kratos is the villain kind of thing. It's more so about, hey, you are Thor halfway through this game, and now you have to prevent Ragnarok. And the way of preventing Ragnarok is to stop Kratos and Atreus, because as Thor, you know that they are the conduits, or the catalyst, I should say. They're the catalyst for this big event. How do you stop it? And you're Thor, and you're having to do it. And it gets tough though, because I think it does come back to empathy in a certain way, right? Like I don't want to play as Thor hunting Kratos if Kratos hasn't done anything wrong. Last of Us 2 did a good job.
Come on, now Kratos has done a few things wrong.
Oh, okay,
Yeah,
fair.
his entire history, even in the events of 2018, he's done a lot of things wrong.
You're wrong. Oh, you're right. But like, Atreus is still pretty cool. Last of Us 2 does a really good job partway through that game of being like, nah, man, Ellie is a fucking villain. Like, she's justified in what she's doing to some extent because of what she saw them do to Joel. But by the time you get halfway through that game, Ellie's just fucking them up. Like, the men, women, and the dogs. Like, as Abby, you're like, okay, cool.
No one was safe.
Nobody was safe from Ellie. As Abby, it's like, okay, no, I totally understand this and I identify this. And I think the cycle of violence storyline plays into that, where for God of War, I think it's more of an interesting gameplay proposition than a story proposition. I want to play as Thor. I want to swing that hammer. I want to throw that hammer. I want to catch that hammer, and then I'll use the thunder. I want the thunder to come out of my fingers.
Do you think he's going to have that same power? Do you think that he's going to have the recall of Mjolnir like that?
I don't know. I don't know Norse mythology all that much. I assumed all Thors could do that. Is that not a thing?
I don't know.
I would assume so, especially with Brock and Sindri. When they made the axe as well, they made it in mind of like having it being able to return to its owner and stuff. So that's not something that felt like the way they had introduced it into God of War 2018. It felt like something that they had kind of like done before,
Mm. Yeah, I mean, maybe it's something else, right? Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be the throw and recall. If they want to remix it or do something different or do something truer to Norse mythology, right? Like, what powers does the hammer have that can lend to interesting gameplay for Thor? If it is the hammer is the conduit for thunder abilities, I think that could be cool. Gameplay wise, I think it'd be cool. Story wise, that's where I struggle a little bit.
Chat, we're looking for anybody who is a Norse mythology expert in the Trog chat right now. But according to Britannica.com, here's how they describe Mjolnir in Norse mythology, all right? Mjolnir, in Norse mythology, is the hammer of the thunder god Thor and the symbol of his power. Forged by dwarfs, the hammer never failed Thor. He used it as a weapon to crash down on the heads of giants and as an instrument to hollow people and things. Mjolnir was stolen by giant Thrym, who asked as ransom the hand of the goddess Freya. When Freya refused to go to Thrym, Thor masqueraded as her and succeeded in grabbing the hammer, which had been brought out to consecrate him as Thrym's bride. Thor then slaughtered Thrym and the other giants with the hammer.
This is cool because all of that was spoilers. Was covered in Assassin's Creed Valhalla. Like I think you actually like do that story in Valhalla.
That's awesome. Yeah. But right there, Bliss, seems like if he could have gone whoop and gotten it, very short thing. He doesn't have to go and drag to act like he's the bride.
That's fair.
So right there, if you have better evidence, please
maybe in like the Norse mythology, he can only do that in battle and like short range kind of stuff,
Yeah, maybe there's like a Wi-Fi signal that got lost.
Yeah, exactly.
Far enough.
Also, I called this out in the chat, but I just like, if we're gonna play as Thor, or how much prep time will we need to fight Kratos?
You just roll out of bed and you just start wailing on him.
At the end of spoilers for God of War 2018. At the end of God of War 2018,
remember, we're playing it coming up. Everybody.
We're playing it soon. Thor came through with the hands, like, or not that we saw him throw the hands necessarily, but he came through like he was prepared to throw the hands. And I don't know how much prep time he had. I don't know if he was training all that time. It was a flash forward.
I feel like Barrett's speaking more to like the player end of it rather than the.
Like how long?
I'm calling back to the conversation we had years ago, I think, at this point about Kratos being a chicken and how much prep time we would need to fight Kratos as a chicken.
Yeah. Like if Kratos is fighting Ratchet and Ratchet used the chicken gun, turn Kratos into a chicken, can Ratchet beat Kratos chicken? How much prep time do each of them get? And for the Thor versus Kratos conversation, I'm gonna say I'm giving it to Kratos because Kratos is that guy. But I think give Thor a little bit of prep time, and it could be about. I think they'll go back and forth a little bit.
Also, spoilers: Kratos killed Zeus, so like, I don't know. I feel like no amount of prep time can prepare you for Kratos, no matter who you are now.
You don't think Thor could take Zeus?
I'm just saying, like, Zeus is like the leader of the Greek gods.
Is you calling Thor, or what's going on here?
Yeah, he is. He is. He's gonna call Thor.
so curious on who's gonna be. It's gonna be Corey Barlog.
I'm shocked at how many people also answer Greg's calls.
I'm always scared who's going to be on the other end. It's going to be Nick.
No. It doesn't look. It is, of course, July 27th.
Sorry, signal code is not available.
No. I googled University of Missouri North mythology professor, and I found one, and so I called her. But it's summer vacation, so she's probably not there. There's an email too. Maybe she'll email back. So hold on.
Sure.
Keep talking. You talk amongst yourself about all this Norse mythology.
Shannon, who you got between Thor and Kratos?
Oh,
Well, I mean, it's Kratos' game. He's
yeah.
gonna win.
But
like,
if they
even
make it
playing
Thor's
field.
game. It's still crazy. I feel like Kratos has done so much like crazy shit. You know what I mean? But again, it's like it wouldn't matter either way. Like they could make it whatever they want to make it because it's like not real, right? It's like their version of the story, so they could do whatever they want. Yes, the plot armor.
I mean, I agree. I think Kratos is would be his ass. I just think it could go back. I think Thor could stand his own for a little bit.
He took down all of Greek mythology. Is all I'm saying. You know, like he ain't blinking at Thor coming at him.
Well, we're also talking about. He's gotten old though. You know, like he's aged. Yeah. He fought Balder, and Balder was holding his own for a little bit before Kratos snapped the fuck out of his neck.
Balder had a cheat code. You know, he had a cheat code, and then we had to take the cheat code away from him. You know.
But like Mjolnir, man. Mjolnir might be the cheat code. What's up, Greg?
Let me know if I've represented our point effectively, all right? Hello, Professor. I'm a Mizzou alum, and I'm on a podcast right now. In Norse mythology, does Mjolnir come back to Thor like in the Marvel movies? Thank you, MIZ, Greg.
Perfect.
It's out. We sent. It's sent. It's gone.
I'll keep you posted.
Blessing.
Greg.
Janet. It's time for topic of the show. Another PlayStation exclusive has fallen to its demise, probably, maybe, but we'll find out what we're talking about. The Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake is reportedly on pause. We're going to read from Jay Peters over at The Verge, and Blessing has included a trailer for the one and the only Barry Courtney on the ones and twos. Development of the upcoming Star Wars Knights of the Old Republic remake for the PlayStation 5 and PC is on pause, according to Bloomberg. The game's art director and design director were also fired earlier this month after the development team showed a demo of the game to Lucasfilm and Sony. The Knights of the Old Republic KOTOR remake was first announced at Sony's Big Fall Showcase last September, but developer Aspire Media, which is owned by the Embracer Group, hasn't yet shared a release time frame for the title. The remake has been in development for 3 years, and while the original plan was to release the game by the end of 2022, a more quote-unquote realistic target is now 2025, Bloomberg reports. Saber Interactive, another Embracer Group studio, is also helping with development, and Bloomberg says that, quote, some at Aspire believe that Saber could take over. Blessing and Janet, I know you talked about this on Games Daily today. Mm-hmm. So the question really becomes, are they going to be able to come back from this? Is this a game we will ever see? Is this just vaporware? Is it the end? Janet, where are you at?
I think it's a game we'll see. I mean, there's always the chance that things get like shelved, but I feel like that doesn't happen as often in the sense that usually when things are talked about, it's like, I'm sure a bunch of stuff gets shelved behind the scenes that we're never privy to. But as far as like in your face shelved, that's a bit more of a rarity. Again, that's also happened. You know, we've seen things like Scalebound, but like, I imagine that, which, you know, shout out to Tim for not getting Scalebound in that one clip out you guys had from Kind of Feudy. But
it's not that he didn't get it. It was just my turn. And he was so sure that he would get it and win the day.
Well, the problem is I'm guessing, well, I didn't watch all of it. So spoilers for the extended piece of it. But it's like that when you have it in your mind and you're like, all I need is just no one to say it. But then someone does. And you're like, now what am I going to do? That said, that's one of the first and few that come to mind for that. So I think if they end up putting it out, as long as the game is good, no one's going to care as much about this journey. Obviously, it will have an impact on like things like the studio, maybe the morale, obviously people's careers. Like, I'm not saying that this isn't having an impact, but in terms of being a fan, you know, it's a remake of an old game. A lot of people that wanted to play it already played it, you know. And if you didn't already play it, I imagine, like, I'm someone that this would be my first time with like Knights of the Old Republic, and I'm like, cool, I'll just wait. That said, it is still, you know, kind of a shocking turn of events to have like, hey, this is what we have ready to go. And then someone's like, this isn't it. goodbye. And it's like that's pretty shocking. I haven't, this is I made the on KFGD the Metroid comparison where it's like they showed that beginning of the game and they were like, this is not it. Let's start from scratch. Again, that game still has not come out, that Metroid game. So TBD on when that actually ends up dropping and what the results of that end up being. But yeah, I don't want to use the stupid good game is delayed, bad game, whatever. I fucking hate that quote. It gets used too much. I'm not going to bring it up here. But if the game comes out and it's good, people aren't going to care they had to redo it for this part.
My prediction, though, is I don't think it can be good. Like, I don't think they can do it. Can it recover? I don't think they can recover. And not only that, I think the deck was always stacked against them. I think what the announcement happened, it was out of the blue. We were all super excited. But I remember when it popped up and it was Aspire. You're like, oh, okay. Like, Aspire doesn't really do that kind of game, do they? And of course not, right? They usually work on ports. If you go to their Wikipedia page and look at it, right, it's just port after port after port after port. And I'm not saying that means they're talentless hacks or something like that. I just mean that's them coming in and doing something. A remake doesn't really sound like it. And not only are we talking about a remake, we are talking about a remake to one of the most beloved games of all time. Like, KOTOR is incredible if you played it back in the day. Like, I know it doesn't hold up and it's, whatever now, but like when I got an Xbox for Stubbs the Zombie, the second game I bought was KOTOR. I was like, and I loved it so much I bought KOTOR 2 immediately, right? Like,
how was Stubbs the Zombie?
Stubbs the Zombie was really good. Wasn't a system, well, it wasn't really good, but it was good. It was fun. You know what I mean? This is the back in the day, again, Janet, like, you kids today with your Walking Deads, you know what I mean? You feel like you got zombie content.
You're out
everywhere.
here acting like when I got the GameCube, we didn't only have Luigi's Mansion and like one other game. Okay, like sure. we lived the life.
I'm just saying, like back then, zombies that was a quaint thing. You like zombie movies like I did. You bought every piece of zombie content you could. That's how you had to be. But KOTOR, beloved, cherished. And I don't think it holds up. And I'm not somebody who's obviously can play KOTOR for the first time now. But even when I've gone back and tinkered with it, it's like, you look at this, it's old. It's an old game, right? It's got a bunch of old systems. And like the moments and the reveals, those are story beats that could easily be translated. But to get in there and make a full-fledged RPG out of it, a Star Wars RPG, and do all this cool stuff around it, like, that's a tall order. And I don't think the team that's just ported stuff before is necessarily ready to go on that.
And even
they have it.
Even that team who's known for ports, even some of those ports are questionable in quality as well. Because I think they're the same ones who ported KOTOR 1 and 2 to the Switch.
With that bug.
And I think, there's a bug in, I think, 2 where you can't even finish the game. So
yeah, well, they're working on it. Yeah, you're right. They still can't, but they're working on it. Blessing, you're nodding your head, right? Like, there's that, and then now you're gonna, Janet. I love it when you say today you and Blanet, you guys were doing a show together, and you talked about, I forget who it was, but somebody caught a stray from Bless when he was just talking about something else. It's the same thing here of like to have the article and like Saber Interactive is talking about stepping in, and they might take over. Hey, man. Saber Interactive, I'm not saying are bad developers or anything like that. They just put out that Evil Dead game, World War Z, but they've also put out a lot of stuff that's just like totally middle of the road, AA, whatever, a game you forget about or never even pick up. So like them coming to the rescue doesn't make me go, oh, it's gonna be okay. Like if it's a project that's already off the rails and you bring in another development team, awesome, fine. But like this is going to be picked apart. And not only, and I mean picked apart by fans, but then Janet, people like you who've never played it before, you're gonna sit down, and even if you are like, all right, I get it's a new game from a new team, yada. There's going to be a expectation of it being something special. And if it is just a small scoped Star Wars game, I don't think that plays Blessing.
Yeah, well, I mean, you mentioned having the expectation of being something special. One of the reasons why I included the trailer in the document for Barrett to bring up is the fact that this was announced during a PlayStation showcase. And it was one of the bigger announcements at that PlayStation showcase, a showcase that is meant to, show off the biggest games coming to the platform in future years. It being Knights of the Old Republic, like you say, which is beloved, it being a remake that is that is slated to be a PlayStation exclusive, right? It is this partnership between PlayStation, Lucasfilm, and Aspire as developer. There are expectations for that I think always exceeded what Aspire has been as a studio. For what KOTOR is, both in terms of reception and how much people love it, but then also for what it is as an old game that if you're making a modern PS5 exclusive version of it, like you're talking about something that is a Blue Point project. You're talking about something that is a Last of Us One type project, even more so than that, because like we always talk about with Last of Us One, that is not that old of a game, right? That was 2013. KOTOR is the kind of game that deserves that kind of treatment, to make it playable, to make it modern, to make it feel like this new thing. And I would think that in greenlighting this game as PlayStation and Lucasfilm, you're looking forward to it being we want this to be Demon Souls level in terms of Demon Souls remake. We want this to be phenomenal. We want this to be pretty. We want this to be modern. And you go through the list of Aspire games, and they were never that team, right? Like they ported a lot of Star Wars games. They published Myth Force, right? But like they've not made that much original content, and they've not remade something, especially on the scale that you would want a Star Wars KOTOR remake to be. And so to the question of, can they come back from this, right? I think the game can come back from this. I think if I'm Lucasfilm and PlayStation, I'm figuring out a way to pick that game up and giving it to somebody else who is actually built for that type of project.
I mean, that's
right?
the only way, I think, is to completely be like, listen, the vertical slice was awesome. We loved it, and it didn't go that way. We're not ready to take a gamble on a franchise this big. We're not ready to sit there and give it to Saber Interactive and Aspire and see what they can come up with. We do want to figure out more AAA developer to take this on.
Yeah, and I would honestly love to have been a fly on the wall to see what the conversations were to have it land at Aspire. I'm sure it was a lot of, they worked a lot with Star Wars before. They poured a lot of Star Wars before. Maybe they gave them a really good pitch of, hey, we really want to make something bigger. We want to make a remake. We want to make something new. Maybe that was the pitch, and PlayStation and Lucasfilm just gave them the trust, and they just weren't able to live up to that. But yeah, I am shocked that they came down on that decision. And to that point, right? Yeah, like I could see them lifting the game from Embracer and giving it to, putting it in the hands of somebody else, right? Maybe it is a Blue Point. This is your B project now, or whoever else seems like they're up for the task.
Blue Point. It's like they're like, every time I try to get out, they pull it back in.
Yeah, they pull me back into the remake game.
Die for that Blue Point to pick this up.
And to be clear, like I think for me, when I'm like, I think it has a chance to like be recovered. I mean, just the game itself. I don't know where it's going to end up or whose hands it's going to end up in, but I think this game can come out, this remake, and be good, or at least be maybe like good enough. I don't know if it'll be like how it'll hit for me as someone that never played the original. Like that is definitely a different feeling and invokes different things. Again, that conversation of, does a remake need to be good for now, or can it just be a better version of the thing from before? Like that's always just kind of up for debate. But
I will say, I think the game can come back from this. I do worry about Aspire, because they were working on this game for multiple years. I'm sure for them, they were probably banking a lot on this partnership, because this is one of the biggest partnerships that they've had. I worry a lot about where they go after this. I'm sure if they put their mind, if whoever's high up at that company puts their mind in the right place, right? I'm sure they can figure out where the company goes from there, or what future projects they're already working on, and how to continue. But that's a big blow to Aspire. A big miss, yeah. And correct me. Oh wait, we don't have KindaFunny.com, so that's wrong. Maybe one of you guys know. Is Aspire owned by Embracer, or are they partnered with Embracer?
I can look that up.
Yeah, if you can Google
I want to say, I'm gonna say they are, but I definitely double check.
If they're owned, then that's one thing, right? Like they might have that cushion of Embracer.
So Aspire is a subsidiary of Saber. Saber is a subsidiary of Embracer Group.
February 2021. Yeah, they got acquired.
Gotcha. And so that might lend towards a bit of safety for them, but they've already lost a couple of their lead folks over there. Like that is a rough spot to be in as Aspire, who thought they had something, showed it off, and was like, oh shit, no, we don't have something.
And this again then speaks back to just in general that Embracer group that keeps on acquiring people, and we talk about all the time, and that they're dead set on being THQ and having all that AA and having all those like middle of the road games in there. And that's exactly what we're talking about, where you can remove Gearbox from the equation, right, who is also part of it or whatever, but they're more recent. It is this thing of like, I don't trust any of those studios with something this big. And again, I am talking shit, but I'm not talking unfounded shit. I'm just talking about the body of work that we've seen from them. Obviously, every studio is a middling studio until they make a fucking awesome game and then are on a different level and blah 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 blah. Like, I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm just saying none of those names inspire confidence for me of them looking at it and being like, yeah, okay, cool. This is of course they should be doing this. They should be taking on this, right? Like, you look at this and it is that thing of like, oh fuck. Even though they're totally tarnished, it's like, why isn't BioWare doing this? Like, I understand, like, that's a different conversation of who BioWare is now. They're trying to get back to who they are, though, and this is part of that too. But like anybody else, even if we talk about like looking at The Last of Us Part 1, right? And how when that had started as that PlayStation San Diego studio that wasn't PlayStation San Diego, right? That they were trying to do an Uncharted thing. Well, we'll start on Last of Us. Then Naughty Dog looks at it as like, we're going to take it back in and do it ourselves. Like, I feel like that's the kind of reverence KOTOR needs, is that it needs to have somebody who is like fucking top tier talent and knows what they're doing and isn't somebody who you look at it like, this just isn't good enough. And I wonder how this nets out then. Now, an interesting angle on this conversation comes from the one, the only Dan Golden Spider B, who wrote into patreon.com/KindaFunnyGames, just like you can. It says, with KOTOR being delayed indefinitely and the recent disclosure over Skull and Bones being of, quote, it's dead, it's been so long since we announced it, only for the team at Ubisoft Singapore to come out and say, no, this time frame is pretty standard for a AAA game. Do you think we will ever see devs and publishers stop announcing games before they are sure they can hit the release date?
No, never, because you have to market it. I mean, I think
100%.
A lot of times, again, it's not that, oh, they're so like out of touch with their own production time. I mean, sometimes it might be, but generally I wouldn't say it's that they're so out of touch with their own production timeline that they are just missing constantly. I mean, I think for every delay we talk about, we also don't talk about the many, many games that do hit whatever the time frame that they have are. You know, granted, maybe some of those are smaller scale to like this, to point back to this quote of talking about the AAA process. But yeah, I mean, you try your best to line things up. And I think it is a fine line where you end up, granted, this is also maybe a rarity, but with God of War, like all of the intensity around that release date and how that kind of bred a lot of, I think, negativity on the internet and hate on the internet. Now, granted, you shouldn't do things just to try to avoid harassment, because you're never going to avoid harassment fully anyway. You got to just do what you think is best for your game, your team, etc., as well within the confines of capitalism and marketing. But yeah, like it's a fine line between giving that time frame, trying to hit that time. I mean, no one puts out a date like that and they're like, I don't know, we're going to try. But I'm sure there are people that say this is the date. And I'm sure sometimes there are people on the team who are like, I don't know if we're going to be able to hit that, but this is now how we're going to structure our work around maybe trying to attempt to hit that date. And it's unfortunate when those things don't line up properly, because then you know, everyone kind of loses, right? There's issues with if you have marketing stuff lined up, there's issues with fans and trust, there's issues in the studio if you end up making a too ambitious time frame and then now people are trying to crunch to hit it, or you're cutting corners here and there. Like it can get really messy. But yeah, I don't think the idea of I'm going to literally wait for it to be completely done and then I pick a release date. And even with that, I don't know, maybe it could be something as simple as the art for the physical copies. There's a misprint and now we have to do, you know, sometimes it's not even about necessarily the game itself or if that game is ready. I think there are many different phases to a game being ready versus a game being ready to actually be on shelves, on virtual shelves, in the hands of players. Like those have other elements that go beyond, is the game at a playable state? Is it kind of completed in our minds?
Yeah, I think a lot of times it can come down to even release calendar too. I forget which game it was recently that got delayed out of this year into early next year. That was like partnered with PlayStation or whatever.
Forspoken.
Forspoken got delayed into early next year, because you look at this year and it's like, well,
we don't want that smoke.
Yeah, we don't want the smoke with God of War Ragnarok and Last is Part 1. And when you're talking about Square Enix also has like Valkyrie Elysium and other games coming out in the fall as well. Do we really need Forspoken to come out right now? No, let's just delay it into next year. There's so many different factors, let alone something like a global pandemic that could happen and throw things
Here's
off.
the one thing, though. You guys are 100% right. And to Dan's thing, you know, will they ever, you know, stop announcing games? Of course not. They won't. You're all going with good faith arguments. I go the opposite way with this example of Star Wars, Knights of the Old Republic. Here's the spoiler alert for this. Do you think PlayStation gives a fuck that this game is delayed indefinitely? No. They got the juice they wanted. They got the smoke they wanted from it. They wanted to deliver a killer showcase in September, and they fucking did. And they did it by wowing you and showing this teaser trailer and having, you know, Darth Revan turn on his lightsaber. Like, that was it. They won the day. They wanted to win that day and have that moment and have the headlines and the argument and holy shit. And so for it to get here and be like, well, it was all kind of smoke and mirrors, and not that I'm saying PlayStation lied to you or anything like that. It was all smoke and mirrors. The vertical slice was great when we saw it, but then we've seen more and it's not there. We're doing like, sure, they're like, oh, that sucks, but they're also like, who fucking cares? Like, no one's mad at PlayStation today. They're mad at those devs or whatever. The way it fell off the track, not even mad. That's a bad way to put it. Don't get mad at devs or whatever, but. This, I don't think they give a shit at all about this.
Oh yeah, I mean, you look at that same. you look at that same showcase, and God of War Ragnarok, I believe, had a 2021 window at that showcase, and I don't know if they ever thought that that game was coming out in 2021. I'm sure we can probably extrapolate to other games. I forget if Horizon had a window. I'm sure it did have probably a 2021 window that it was never gonna hit. Like it is all part of a marketing machine, like you're talking about. But sorry, go for it, Janet.
I was just gonna say that's why I always thought it'd be interesting and like kind of funny to review showcases way after the fact.
Yeah.
Like, how did the game come out? Like, was the game good? Right? It's like, I think a lot of times, and that is the nature of those kind of I guess moments in the industry. I mean, but frankly, a lot of the conversations we have are before the games come out. It's like, it's the lead up, it's the preview, it's what we've heard, it's who's working on it, it's what they've done and what we think. Like, it is a lot of speculation and lead up, only to be like, the game came out, we have like that one video on it, and then it's like, okay, cool, what do we want from the net? And it keeps going. But yeah, that is why with those showcases too, it's about like the excitement of things that are lined up. At the end of the day, like, it ends up being lightly inconsequential. I'm definitely not fully in the team of like, we shouldn't care about these because they're just big commercials. I'm like, a lot of things are commercials. Like, my whole career is like talking about, the lead up of that stuff. Like, it's all about like people essentially pushing out a product. I mean, they care about the product, but like at the end of the day, like, it's about buying this thing and consuming this thing and adding this thing. And I'm adding to cart, like, I'm there because I like the industry and the hobby. But yeah, that just kind of comes with part of it. And, you hope over time that, like, as far as I can think specific studio by studio basis, that they work towards resolving some of those issues through things like, how you have the production timeline, even like not in this article that you point to with KOTOR, but in another one that Bless had pulled in for KFGD today. It was like somebody on the team had mentioned, we spent like way too much time and money on that like demo slice thing, which I've heard developers talk about as well with like E3 and the people crunching to have something, not just something ready to show for E3, but like whatever that slice is and refining that, when it's like you're really refining something that like, that's not the game you're actually making, but you're not going to go up there and show a bunch of wireframes. So you have to kind of do that smoke and mirrors thing because you want to get the message across. You want people excited so that you can, it all feeds into, I think, what it takes to make a game. And some of that stuff is painful and also won't always land the way you want it to land because it's hard to know what's going to come up.
Greg, as somebody who has played through KOTOR, say Lucasfilm comes to you as a consultant and they're like, we need you to save KOTOR Remake. What do you do? How are you going about it?
I mean, I would throw everything away. I mean, I'm not at liberty.
Like, what's your budget? No.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like, yeah, I would throw it all away and I would
go
to
to save your game? That's a lot. How much time do I have to do that?
Yeah, you'd restart, I think, and you'd go to any of the very talented RPG people you've seen out there, or Bluepoint or whoever, to get in there and have them go for it. And again, I'm talking without having seen it, only reading what we've heard about these vertical slices. To Janet's point, that the first vertical slice looked really great, but actually people were complaining from the team that they put so much work into that, it screwed up the work for everything else and getting it where it's going to be. Like, I feel like that's the boring answer. I don't know. There's not a turnkey person or developer, I think, to just go to and then it's fixed and it's fine. It's just that you need a huge budget, you need time with it, and you need to go.
How much are you changing gameplay? Because earlier on you talked about it being a game that's not necessarily aged that well, right? And if you're going to remake, you got to really go in there and do it. Like,
I'd throw it all out. I would throw it all out. I would
Okay.
say the story of, going against Darth Revan is like what makes, and I should say that the story and the characters you surround yourself with are what makes KOTOR so special. And it was amazing. Like, I remember finally getting a lightsaber in that game, and it was a moment. It was awesome to have, right? Like, in the way they work in the Force and learning it and doing all these things, like, all of that was rad. And personally, I know, like, yeah, it is blessing. Sorry. As Barrett throws up gameplay and starts running around, right? Like, eventually when you get to the combat, right, there's been this ongoing joke / discussion when we talk about it, where it's like, it's turn-based. And then people are like, it's not really turn-based, like, but it's also not instant. Like, I would throw all that shit out, and it is fucking The Witcher. Like, it is action. It is an action RPG. We are in there, and especially after Fallen Order, right? Like, I want to fucking feel like a Jedi. I want to feel like Cal Kestis. I want to feel like I'm using the Force in these things. And if we are starting from scratch and you're able to put it in there and give it that kind of thing, and again, there's always room for slowing down gameplay, but think of like a Mass Effect, right? And how much fun it is to play Mass Effect. And again, you can't slow things down there, but it is shooting and battling and, using your powers and stuff like that. Like, I want that kind of stuff. Like, I want that. I want it to feel like a 2022 action RPG. Or just an RPG in general, like, right? And I feel that's my concern with remaking it and like giving it to somebody who isn't prepared to put in that much work, it's not going to feel good, and then it's going to be this thing of like, oh, this is just a shitty remake.
Yeah, like you essentially want to reboot, or like that maybe adapts the original story or turns it into something that is 2022.
I want to remake. Yeah, I don't want to remaster. I want to remake.
Yeah.
Like,
and
remake the game.
And I would want to bring in someone who is familiar enough with like the new version of what's the High Republic stuff that's coming out now, so they can like have an understanding of what they could do to recontextualize the KOTOR story while thinking about the High Republic stuff, to make it possibly canon down the line, and open up the door for bringing that stuff into other books and comics and what have you, outside of just the games. Like that's another level. Maybe Aspire was or Aspire, however the hell you say it. Maybe that was something that they were thinking about as well, and was something else that they couldn't really figure out how to do. But yeah.
And one thing I double back to again with the Golden Spiders question of will they ever stop announcing? I mean, no, and it's also like such a double-edged sword, because I think for years we've all said we want to know about games early. Why do movies show stuff or announce titles so early? Why do I know so many years of the MCU in front of me, but not necessarily video games? Why is there such a cloud of secrecy in games? Like, you can't have it both ways, where we want to know people are working on stuff, we want to know ahead of time, and then we can't get mad when something like this happens and it falls through, or agent never comes to be, or the list goes on games that have been announced and fallen apart.
We complain every year about Beyond Good and Evil 2, right? And I think,
and it was like, what did you want Ubisoft to do in that moment? And again, maybe that was vaporware and it was just to hold off of Vendy and yada yada yada, but it was this audience that was vocal for years saying, hey, we really want Beyond Good and Evil 2, we really want another Beyond Good and Evil. And so they finally say it, and then it doesn't come together, but that's probably why they didn't say it, right? It's the same way of like Sucker Punch being like, guess what, guys, Sly and Infamous are not being worked on. Do not believe any rumors. That is not happening. Blah, blah. And it's like, well, that's depressing news if you really wanted those things, but good on them for telling us. Like, so it has to cut the other way, right? Of like, hey, we're trying. Now, granted, there can be the updates of like, man, it is not coming together. We're sorry, we're not going to show it. But yeah, it's such a weird line to walk and figure out.
I never trusted Beyond Good and Evil 2. Saw that thing, I was like, ain't no way that game gonna be good. Like, maybe it'll come out and be fire. I don't know. I don't think so.
Yeah, like the next Skate is probably another example of like, that's a game that they've announced very early, and they're being very transparent with it, allowing people to play test it. Skate.
Sorry.
Skate. Yes. And people are play testing it, getting into it, and doing all that stuff. But then I look on YouTube and I look on TikTok, and I see videos of people being like, oh man, look at this really early alpha footage of Skate. Oh man, they should keep the jankiness in. Oh man, they should do this. And it's like, y'all, they're being very transparent about how they're making the game, and they don't want it to be janky, right? But like, they want you. Like, I think the thing that makes the video games difficult to some extent is there is kind of this misunderstanding of what the audience perceives versus what developers are doing, because it is more technical, right? Like, it is development versus making a movie, and like we oftentimes like, when it comes to the behind the scenes of a movie, it is like, oh yeah, we're seeing off-screen footage of of the actor walking off set or whatever in their costume, and that's kind of the
actor. No, I'm a walker.
I'm a walker, Texas Ranger. But you see that stuff, right? with video games, it is like, oh, here's development footage, and you take that and you internalize it, and you think, oh man, if the puddles don't look like this in the final game, I'm gonna revolt. And yeah, that makes it very difficult, I think, on the development side to like be transparent.
At Comic-Con, right, you just saw this with James Gunn, where they dropped a Guardians 3 trailer, a teaser, and every one of the, all the comments were, oh, the cast is crying and the audience is crying. It was amazing. It was incredible. And people were like, what the fuck? Show it to us, yada, yada, yada. And somebody was like, asked James Gunn, like, hey, when are we going to, can we see it? And it sucks that Marvel won't let you show it. And he responded back, he's like, it's not Marvel, it's me as well. And he's like, it's because there are VFX shots in there that are not finished, and I do not feel like having to deal with freeze frames and people breaking it down in 4K of why this looks like trash. And I'm like, oh man, that's a really interesting why, because it's always been like, wait, if you're showing shit in Hall H, why wouldn't you show it? It's gonna get on a shaky camera, it's gonna do this whole thing, and then to have a real answer of like, I just don't want to be crucified over this. You're like, oh, that makes a lot of sense.
Exactly.
Ladies and gentlemen, you know what else makes a lot of sense? Patreon.com/KindaFunnyGames. Over on Patreon.com/KindaFunnyGames, you can write in to be part of the show. You can watch us record the show live, just like Ryan Povala Higgins was until I timed his ass out. And of course, you can get the post show we do each and every week. Most importantly, over on patreon.com/KindaFunnyGames, you can get the show ad-free. But guess what, Jack? You're not on patreon.com/KindaFunnyGames. So here's a word from our sponsor. Are people still trying to make plans with you this summer as if you aren't booked and busy already? You're just gonna have to tell them to try again in the fall. You've got pool days, pride parades, bachelor parties, and beach vacations waiting for you, because when you're living your best life, the last thing you want to worry about is butt sweat. I'm Greg Miller, and my butt never sweats because I wear MeUndies. You've heard it a million times. I like MeUndies so much. With the first pair, I bought a whole bunch more and threw away the rest of my underwear. They're the best. MeUndies has the lightest, most breathable fabrics to keep you cool and comfortable wherever you go. From undies to bralettes to socks to loungewear to swimwear, you can find something for all your plans. MeUndies also releases new prints all the time, like their limited edition Pride collection. Find your ultimate summer comfort in sizes extra small to 4XL. MeUndies has a great offer for my listeners. For any first-time purchasers, you get 15% off. For a limited time, if you sign up for their free-to-join MeUndies membership, you get 25% off your first membership item. To get 15% off your first order, 25% off your first membership item, and 100% satisfaction guaranteed, go to MeUndies.com/KindaFunny. That's MeUndies.com/KindaFunny. No one likes waiting on a paycheck, especially when you've got bills due. Good thing there's Chime. Now you can get your paycheck up to 2 days earlier with direct deposit. That's up to 2 more days to save, pay bills, and generally just feel good about your money situation. But Chime is about more than just getting paid early. It's also an award-winning mobile app, checking account, debit card, and optional savings account. So what are you waiting for? Hopefully not your paycheck. Get started with Chime today. Applying for a free account takes less than 2 minutes. Get started at chime.com/KFgames. That's chime.com/KFgames. Banking services and debit card provided by the Bancorp Bank or Stride Bank NA. Members FDIC. Early access to direct deposit funds depends on your payer. Blessing, what's happening this week in PlayStation?
Yeah, let's start off with a PSVR 2 check. I want to ask you guys, when the hell is this thing coming? Because this last week we got a report from PlayStation. They were talking about some of the new details. Once again, coming in PlayStation VR 2. I'm going to pull from James Septum at Upload VR, who writes, PSVR 2 will use its 4 onboard cameras to allow players to see into the real world and set up safe boundary zones, Sony has confirmed. A post on the PlayStation blog revealed new details for the upcoming headset, which runs off of the PS5 console. For starters, PSVR 2 features a black and white pass-through option, similar to those on the Meta Quest 2 or Pico Neo Link 3. By accessing a menu, you can quickly select a View Surroundings button to see the world around you. You can also use Set Play Area to start setting up your VR space. Again, this works much like it does on other headsets. Use the motion controls to point around the play space and establish virtual boundaries. But PSVR 2 can also scan the area itself to give an initial layout, detecting objects like couches. The headset will then warn you when you approach those boundaries. Elsewhere, the system can record players' own reactions for streams if they're using the PS5 HD camera. And so these are some cool details, right? Like they're doing a lot of things that we know the the Meta Quest for doing.
And I think literally, like if you don't use the Quest, like when I was like new details, and I clicked on, I'm like, oh, this is all just Quest stuff, which. Not cool. Knocking. Quest is super intuitive and great to use, and pass through is amazing for you to be able to see what's going on. But it's like legitimately as they were like tracing the boundary, I was like, this is the exact same thing.
I also forgot we couldn't do that before. I'm like, so we were just like raw dogging this space this whole time, like just pushing everything to the side and hoping you like got them, because no one's measuring it out, right? It's like you sense it.
But yeah, this brings up I think an interesting talking point, which is, over this last year, since the top of 2022, we've had that drip feed of PlayStation VR 2 news that, as we've talked about, it has been very similar to what the PS5 rollout looked like. We got a logo at I believe like CES. We got we got details from PlayStation blog posts. We've been getting all this this drip feed of information about PSVR 2, which has mirrored PS5 in a lot of ways, which has led to us thinking, oh man, this thing must be this fall. But in an interesting wrinkle, if you remember back in 2020, PS5 was officially revealed in a June showcase. We are now toward the end of July, and we've not had a big breakout showcase for PlayStation VR 2. So my question for the two of you
comes from Marty on patreon.com/KindaFunnyGames, who wrote in and said, we got some cool details about PlayStation VR 2 this week. When do you think we will get a proper showcase with games and a release date? What about pricing? The Quest is going up in price next week. Should we expect a higher price than most of us thought? I assume that's where you're going, Bless?
That is exactly where I was going.
I think it's time to let the dream of it being this year die. That's over with. Like I think that's gone, and I think not only is it gone because we're late, it's gone because guess what? Last of Us in September, God of War in November. Like I think PlayStation doesn't want to get in its own way of, hey, we have a cool lineup of games for the holiday, and I think they want to start targeting probably spring. So for me personally, if I was a betting man, I could easily see us going the rest of the year not knowing these answers, not there not being a showcase. But I could see there being something in December to then start promoting the fact that it's coming next year, it's coming early next year, it's coming spring of next year. And then I think you get probably, and that would be like maybe a blog post, and you get like a showcase in January, February for a March release.
I'm there with you. I don't think we're gonna see it this year. My prediction is is that we'll see the reveal, like the release date, at whatever the September showcase is, where it is. Here's our upcoming slate. Here's Spider-Man 2 again. Here's maybe another look at Wolverine and what some of our other studios are doing. And we get a PlayStation VR 2 is coming out in spring with a cool trailer for it.
See, I don't even think we always want that. And we always say that, and then we never get that. They just don't give release dates like that.
They're going to give the date on the blog post, but they'll put it into a bigger showcase.
100%. Yeah.
Maybe they'll.
And it'll be a blog post that drops the same day as the showcase. They just won't say it.
Oh my God, that's brilliant.
Which is something that we honestly need to start expecting. Like, I remember when they finally revealed the God of War 2 release date, and they were like, man, they hyped this up, and they just like put it into a blog post. It's like, well, no, one, y'all hyped this up because you're a really weird Ravenous fan base who just thinks like, Sony's going to do something that they aren't going to do. Two, they revealed the God of War 2018 release date in a blog post. That's just the thing that they do. So timeout,
ladies
Greg.
and gentlemen, we have a timeout. I'm sorry, this is a full stop of the show.
Did you get
this
the email?
This is an emergency. Dr. Cohen from the University of Missouri has emailed me back.
Yay.
Hello, Greg. No.
Email in the summertime. Rough.
I know, right? We're working hard on it. MIC. No, Mjolnir does not come back to Thor on its own accord in Norse mythology, unfortunately. That would have made things a lot easier for Thor in the text called Themyscirvidida, where a giant steals his hammer and won't return it until he gets the love goddess Freya as his bride. Loki then comes up with the idea of dressing up Thor as Freya to fool the giant. The story is well worth reading, and then gives me a link to sacred-text.com.
Hell yeah.
I'm going to put that in the live chat for the Trogs.
Never doubt Greg Miller. Wow.
Yeah. Wow.
Never doubt the University of Missouri, everybody.
Never doubt the worm.
Jesus. Yeah, they teach you well. God damn.
I didn't give me any scholarship money. That's why I didn't go.
Did you apply there?
Yeah, I got in. Too expensive.
Yeah,
sure. You got in. Where'd you said go? No? Damn.
Yeah, of course. I went to Cornell College.
That's the reality, Blessing. That's
Where's
the reality
Cornell?
of how expensive college is.
I still don't got university money.
I'm just trying to throw shade at Mizzou for no reason.
Yo, hit up my PayPal because I'm still paying this shit off from the other place. I went to Cornell College. I basically had to pick. In Iowa, not the Ivy League, though. Not gonna lie, sometimes I just don't even correct people because I'm like, why not clout for free Ivy League education? Boom, right there. You don't need to go. You can just tell people you went. I've had a couple schools I applied to, and then ultimately I did have to pick it based on what I could live with debt-wise. And I'm like, I think 30 to 40K would be something to shoot for overall debt versus like Mizzou wanted me to pay that like a year, and I'm like, I don't got that. Bye. So yeah, that's why I didn't go. But
next time you want to go to Mizzou, hit me up. Maybe I'll pull some levers. I'll try the things. Blessing, we need to get
for grad school or something.
Yeah, let's get a KindaFunny scholarship going.
That's actually a great idea.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna pay for it.
How do you do that?
I like how
you do that, huh?
Bless, I
think you just make one. I don't think it's that hard.
But so we make it, but then we get people to donate to it, right? And then we give it out to like one deserving student. Is that how
we get people to donate? I thought we just don't.
Yeah, isn't it?
I think we pay for it. Yeah.
You say that, but Mizzou always hits me up, and I give them money for their scholarship funds.
Oh, okay.
You know what I mean?
I think you would probably, since you're so chummy with this professor, maybe like say, hey, can you direct me to someone?
First off, I just met Dr. Cohen. Don't, push our relationship too far fast. If it was a journalism question, I could have called anybody for it. I could have had people. Dr. Cohen here.
I guess the only thing you have to check out is the legal ramifications of certain things, like making sure that stuff fits. But then, you could do it. Sure.
Are you sending Dr. Cohen a follow-up email? What are you doing right now, Greg?
I think I said thanks.
Oh, the PSVR
I'm going to
thing.
tweet about it eventually.
Okay. At first, I was like, maybe it could be.
Oh, God.
This year.
Who is he calling?
It's probably not this year. I'm going to say yes this year just for fun.
Hey, what's up?
Kevin, it's Greg. You're on PS I Love You, XOXO. How are you?
Oh, I'm doing very well. How are you?
Great. Kevin, I need you to look into how we start a scholarship, a KindaFunny scholarship to go to Mizzou. Like, I know we could just give the money. We just give somebody money, but like,
Sure.
there's got to be I give money to Mizzou for a scholarship fund, so I should be able to ask people for money for a Mizzou scholarship fund for KindaFunny, right? Doesn't that?
I think that's easy. I think that the legalities behind it might be a little difficult.
See, that's where it is. That's where, of course,
That's what it gets you.
easy, but I don't need the tax biting us in the ass eventually or something like that.
But that's why Kevin's our lawyer.
That's always a concern.
All right, well, you look into that. You get back to me.
Okay, I'll do some Googling.
Thank you, bye. In a lot of ways, Kevin is my Dr. Cohen.
How?
I feel like
How
how
would you name?
I send him a
want-
message to do something, and he gives me the answer. You know?
Okay.
You think Dr. Cohen watches the show? You should send him back a link to
Dr.
PSL
Cohen
on
is
your
about to.
episode.
I guarantee when I send Dr. Cohen this weird ass link of like, here's the podcast, like you can see where the questions happens, and then this happens. There you go.
Oh man.
Hello, Dr. Cohen. I hope the weather's good in Missouri today.
I hope you're
Pricing
doing well,
wise,
Dr. Cohen.
pricing wise,
Well,
I would
actually,
say
before we get there, though, I wanted to point out with my prediction for the
Sure.
showcase thing. I'm thinking more window, right? I don't think we get an actual release date. I think the most we get would be to say spring 2022, in the same way that for PS5 when they revealed it. I want to say, and this can be another, correct me if I'm wrong, because I actually don't genuinely remember. During that PS5 summer showcase, I think they said holiday 2022. I assume they had to say it said holiday 2022. So I would think, for me, I was thinking about it in that way of like, oh yeah, showcase happens, PSVR 2, like a 4-minute maybe or 3-minute PSVR 2 reveal, bookend at spring 2022, and then they follow up in January or February with like a bigger showcase that is, here are all the games that you can get, and it's coming out this March or April or something. But as far as price, I think that's where things get interesting, because recently, this last week,
Ladies and
Quest
gentlemen,
2.
we go to CNBC.com, where Jonathan Vivian writes, Facebook parent company Meta raises price of Quest 2 headset by $100. Facebook parent Meta has raised the price of Quest 2 virtual reality headset by $100 as the company reckons with inflationary pressures. Meta announced the price via Twitter. In order to continue investing in moving in the industry forward with VR, we're adjusting the price of the headsets to $399 for the 128 gigabytes and $499 for 256 gigabytes. The company said it hiked it up because, and I already said that part. Meta added in a corporate blog post, quote, the cost to make and ship our products has been on the rise. By adjusting the price of Quest 2, we can continue to grow our investment in groundbreaking research and new product development that pushes the VR industry to new heights, Meta said. So what does that mean then for you, Blessing, for talking about a PlayStation VR 2?
It's gonna be expensive, I think.
Really?
I think it's gonna be expensive.
Like,
I
how
think it'll-
expensive?
Like more expensive than we think. I would say maybe $400.
What do we think?
I would say $400. Before this, I would have been like
I don't think
$300.
that's crazy though. So
That's
I
what
feel,
that's
I
what
also think,
PlayStation VR launched at, remember?
Yes.
$399.
I think it'll be $399, and if they hit $399, I'll be like, I'm not excited about this price, but it could have been worse, so I'm glad it's not worse. That's how I will feel if they land that. I think that's also how most people will feel. I think too, like it benefits them that Quest is also raising their price, because the worst case scenario is if it's still a differential that's negative on the PlayStation side, it closes that gap a bit. And if it's the same, it's like, great, we won't have to have the conversation of that every podcast ever is going to have if it's more expensive than Quest 2, which is it's more than Quest 2. Is it worth it, given the fact that it is missing some of the things that I think people like in Quest, namely the not needing any other hardware, just having that in isolation. Again, they've done a lot of things that PSVR 2 is doing, but PSVR 2's only real angle here is the exclusives and the kind of, I guess, general PlayStation of it all. Even though some of the games will have overlap, I'm guessing there's something inherently familiar about having PSVR 2. What was that?
This is me speaking as a non-expert. I would PSVR 2, I would think, is going to be more powerful than the Quest, because Quest is like very much standalone. All that processing is going on in the helmet, whereas you're getting the power of the PS5 in that PSVR 2.
True, accurate.
Which I don't know how far that goes in terms of selling the headset.
Yeah, I mean, I think it's tough because I feel like for me as like a casual VR person, aka I only had PSVR and Oculus Quest 1, I'm not, I'm looking for the most convenient thing. I'm not necessarily looking for pushing fidelity in a big way. I mean, I think that is important, especially towards creating experiences that feel immersive and also like as not janky as possible in VR. But ultimately, I think there's other things that VR games could work on beyond that, you know, like visuals only really blow me away personally when it's something that's very visually oriented. Like the National Geographic thing that's on Quest 1 is super fun to me. I'm just hanging out. I'm taking pictures of penguins. I'm like, this is great. I sit on my floor and I pretend I'm in a fucking raft, and I love that shit. That shit's awesome. That hits. Is it like an amazing quote unquote game? You could also argue it's not really a game. I don't know. Not necessarily, right? The best game I played is still Astro Bot Rescue Mission by like a mile. And that's not because it was so amazing fidelity wise that it hit. It's that the gameplay was good and it utilized VR in a way that felt meaningful. So I don't know. We'll see. But I'm hoping for 400. Less would be incredible, but I think that's kind of wishful thinking.
Yeah, I think and it's interesting with this price increase happening and getting right there. I really do wonder at PlayStation if they're like, whew, or like fuck. But I really think $399 is the ceiling for PlayStation VR 2, because I think that is what they got away with PlayStation VR 1. It is still a wired device. It is still, requiring a PlayStation 5. It is still, what is going on? What are you laughing at?
I keep hitting my water bottle on things, and it's like I hit it on the arm, and then and it's like it was really loud on my end, but maybe you guys didn't hear it.
Nah, it's quiet on mine. I thought Isaiah did something. I thought he fell down. The way you're looking off screen and laughing, I was like,
no.
Is he okay?
That jump scared me.
I know, he's like gone. He's gone. Yeah, he's like, what the heck is he doing? He's just zoning out watching YouTube. I don't know what's happening there. He's figuring it out.
That jump scared me because I had a very small inner laugh right before Greg asked, "What are you laughing about?" Because I saw a Slack from Tim, and so like when Greg asked, "What are you laughing about?" I was like, "God damn, I've been caught."
Yeah.
Oh, shit.
I think $399 is
Slack
the ceiling.
at work. How dare you?
What is the likelihood that it is also 500 and PlayStation is leaning into understanding that VR is a niche market and those who are already sold into VR are going to get it anyway, and therefore they don't feel like they need to try to bring it down to, get more casual people into it and just lean into the tech of improving their VR set rather than making it more
I think that's
accessible.
the wrong direction, and they know that's the wrong direction, Barrett. It's an interesting angle, and it's not like out of the realm of possibilities, but I think the success they saw with PlayStation VR being so approachable and actually selling more units than they thought, I think they probably have a very good estimate on where they're going to be here and what they want to do with it. And I think they still need to be approachable. It still needs to be something you can get. And it is that idea of, with so few, I'm using air quotes, PlayStation 5s in the wild, right? Not nearly as many as people want to be in the wild. I think you can have even a better attach rate for it in terms of a percentage this early in the console generation. So I think that bodes well for them to make it actually have that impact and be able to be there for people. And so I think that's one of the reasons they keep it there. And I think, again, I think it was Janet who brought it up, right? You then get into this really weird pissing contest if you go higher, because eventually people are going to be like, but wait, the Quest is all in one. I can play it anywhere in the world. I can go on a tennis court and draw out my thing and be completely free and have a fun time. I'm still tethered here. The PlayStation 5 is still doing the work. If we're doing
Would you
a
go
fair
on a tennis court, would it overheat or something if you're outside? Are you allowed to take it outside? Do they like show that
100 degrees? Oh man, people play their VRs outside all the time.
We should take it to a tennis court and see what happens.
What do you think is going to happen?
I don't know. It overheats or something, or it's like I can't. It's too bright.
How hot is it in LA?
Inside, I guess.
Where it's 120 degrees? Like, where are we, Janet?
Well, how humid is it over there?
We're a little bit everywhere, I don't know. I've never tried it.
We're in San Francisco. It's chilly here a lot.
Yeah, you're gonna be able. You put on a sweatshirt, you go play on a tennis court, you'll be just fine. Anyways, though, it would be the conversation of, wait, why? Theoretically, I've already put in hundreds of dollars into the PlayStation 5. Why am I putting even more hundreds of dollars into this?
That's my thing.
Real Zach, it's $600, and they're like, if you can't afford it, go get a second job.
That worked out well before.
Goddamn.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're like, history repeats itself. It's a flat circle. It's another recession,
Yeah, but if you're talking about like $500 for a headset and then also $500 for a PS5, you're getting the disc version. That is $1,000 they're paying.
GameStop's queuing up to make that bundle, baby. They're like throwing a couple games, and it's the only way you can get the device.
But again, even with like if it's down to $400, right? That's $900.
Yeah.
And again, with them understanding like how more expensive this one probably is to make with the more improved specs, knowing it's a niche market already, even though the first one did sell better than they thought it would, it was still not like this gangbusters, like it was, you know, dominating the gaming market in and of itself, right?
Yeah.
So I just, and especially where we're at with how companies are going to treat things going forward with, you know, inflation and just where the economy is at. And I don't know. I see Sony being like, yeah, let's just market at $500 and just kind of, you know, we'll take.
I don't think they will.
We'll take the, you know, the Twitter hit of people being upset for like 2 weeks, and you know.
But I mean, like, it's. Here's the thing, though, Barrett, is that, and I hear you and I agree, but I just don't think that's this PlayStation. And I'll make a pizza bet if you want about it, because I agree. But I like the argument. I like
I was a betting man. I'm like, you are a betting man.
We are betting men, and I will take that pizza bet, because if you think that that's not this PlayStation right now, you can't see me, Greg, but I am also shaking my hand towards you.
The problem but here's the thing, is that, as you pointed out, there is a ceiling to VR's interest, and on top of that, I think there is a ceiling of price, where it's like, I, you know, am very interested in VR. I love my Quest. I enjoyed my PlayStation VR. I'm ready for PlayStation VR 2 and the experiences it'll have. But if we're to sit here and you're going to start, you're like, at what point would I go, oh, I'll wait for a price drop? And I feel like $500, I'd definitely wait for a price drop. Unless, again, their lineup is killer and there's all this stuff and they justify it, but I just don't see that being the take here.
Yeah. And I mean, as folks who are in the PlayStation ecosystem, right? Like, I know there's a chance that VR2 comes out and we all don't get sent the device. There's a chance we do, but like, in the chance that we don't, I can see myself buying it for $300, $400. I'm not buying that thing for $500 out of my own pocket. Like, I'm not going that far. And I think there's enough people who are in that VR niche that would see that $500 price point and go, no, I love VR. I am not paying that much for a VR headset, especially when MetaQuest exists, especially when other headsets exist that have other benefits as well, right? Like, for PSVR 1, the thing that really worked about it, even though VR as a headset, it wasn't like, you know, extremely popular, but it was popular for a VR headset, and VR 1 was one of the most popular VR headsets. What worked about that was the fact that it was an easier buy-in than what a lot of the other headsets were at the time. Like, PlayStation has power in getting people in at that lower overall price for VR, and then also having a library to back it up. But the library still isn't as powerful to justify a $500 price point for VR2, especially when you're paying that for a PlayStation. So
also, it wasn't the easier buy-in, and this will be my last question. Wasn't it because the first generation of VR hardware, wasn't the PSVR specs like lower than everything else at the time? And now that we're looking into PSVR 2 specs seem to be much more not much more, but higher than everything else that's out on the market. Yeah, that's another aspect where I'm convinced, and knowing the kind of company that Sony and PlayStation are right now versus to what they were even 5-6 years ago, I see that thing being 500 and them not giving a shit.
Wow.
I appreciate your confidence in your conversation. I will have a pizza soon from you. It will be less than $500.
Will it?
And I'm not counting $4.99.
Will it be Five Guys or not Five Guys?
I would love a Five Guys pizza.
Square Pie Guys?
Square Pie Guys. Well. Thank you. Is that what you want?
Yeah, it'll be Square Pie. We can do that.
Okay.
Look, I kind of want to jump into the pizza bet and say I think it might be $3.50 or lower.
You're insane.
That's where I'm at.
You're insane. No
That's where I'm
shot.
At. They're trying to get people
I think if they wanted to be super aggressive and really turn heads, yes. But I think that they'll still also want to make money, so I think $3.99.
Let me know when y'all exchange the pizza, and I'll just pull up and have a couple slices for whoever.
No matter who wins, Janet wins.
Yeah, I'm pulling up regardless, and I'm like, oh, are we having pie?
At Five Guys pizza. Let's talk about a really great deal if you're part of the PlayStation ecosystem with PS Plus. Games for August have been announced this month. You're getting Yakuza Like a Dragon, you're getting Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 Plus 2, and you're getting Little Nightmares, which is a pretty good month. But also with that, I gotta clear my throat. With that, you're also getting a bunch of Yakuza games. They announced this on the PlayStation blog. 8 Yakuza games are coming to PlayStation Plus in 2022, starting this month. I am reading directly from the PlayStation blog. The acclaimed Yakuza series, incorporating the Kazuma Kiryu saga and latest entry, Yakuza Like a Dragon, are coming to PlayStation Plus in 2022. Yakuza Like a Dragon joins the PlayStation Plus monthly games lineup in August. PlayStation Plus Extra and Premium members can begin Kazuma Kiryu's epic journey through the criminal underworld with Yakuza 0, Yakuza Kiwami, and Yakuza Kiwami 2 when the titles launch as part of the August game catalog lineup. Then later this year, for Extra and Premium members, and this is with like a star, or this is with an asterisk, Kiryu's story concludes with Yakuza 3 Remastered, Yakuza 4 Remastered, Yakuza 5 Remastered, and Yakuza 6 The Song of Life. I want to note that most of those are going to just premium between Yakuza 3, 4, and 5. Yakuza 6 is the only one that's coming to extra out of that group, which is confusing in the writing, and I went on a rant on it on KFGD this morning.
And also, you know, Blessing, Yakuza Kiwami and Kiwami 2 are remakes of Yakuza 1 and 2. And if it's a remake of an older game, isn't it supposed to be on the premium? Isn't it supposed to be on the premium tier, Blessing? So why is it at the extra tier, Blessing? Why the fuck is it at the extra tier when there's other remakes that are native for PS4 on the premium tier, Blessing? It doesn't make any fucking sense, Blessing.
Sid Schumann flipped a coin.
And chat, I swear to God, stop typing that comment later on, because I see you. I see you sitting at your desk and you're typing this out. Well, it's PlayStation's rules, and they don't follow them consistently, and it's driving me insane.
I do feel for PlayStation Plus Extra members who are like, I want to play all the Yakuza games, and then they get to 3, and they're like, oh, I can't play this one. What about 4? Oh, well, I guess I'm just going to go to 6 now because 3 of them are not available in our service.
Open your wallets, you cheapskates. That's what PlayStation says. Get on up here.
Especially in the US, did you see the whole thing with, like, if you didn't have PlayStation Plus and you try to get Stray, they're like, oh, subscribe to PlayStation Plus, and it would take you to Premium, even though that Stray was an extra game. But they would try to get you all the way up to
money.
Like, dude, it's like
I respect the hustle.
I need them to abandon the tiers. I just need them to abandon the tiers and just make.
You want one tier of PlayStation Plus?
That's what Game Pass is, man.
I need two tiers.
No, isn't there Ultimate too?
Two-tier
Game Pass
team.
Ultimate.
Well, Game Pass
It's more of a bundle of the two.
Yeah, isn't Game Pass Ultimate Xbox and PC put together?
It's Xbox. It's the gold. It's the PC.
Yeah,
access.
it's games of gold also.
Yeah, but no one uses.
So it's like you get everything
anymore, you know.
Yeah, but now
you
have it. You know what I mean? Go on the internet, play against people.
I didn't know about the you go to play Stray thing or go to want to buy Stray thing.
Fran had a whole thread about it.
That's hilarious, and like it takes me back to high school with like you have that kid in the high school in school that sells candy and shit, and he's like nickeling and diming you at every moment. You guys had that kid? Maybe it was just
no.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Vending machines.
Yeah.
Yeah, but the vending machines didn't have the good shit.
You guys had vending machines?
I went to a bougie high school, so no one was like selling anything.
Suburban high school you went to. Jeez.
Yeah, that was I don't think I had.
We also had we had vending machines, but I think they might only had healthy.
My mom's work was the coolest place because it had a vending machine. I never saw that in my daily life, you know.
Anyway, you guys excited about Yakuza?
No. Well, I mean, what a great month for PlayStation Plus.
Yeah.
Yes, it'll be a better month when they fuse Extra with Premium and just make it PlayStation Plus and then PlayStation Plus Plus. You know, lean into it, PlayStation. Come on. But yeah, this is a banger lineup. I'm actually playing Yakuza Like a Dragon right now on my Xbox, and I'm too deep in. I think I gotta stay there.
How many hours are you?
Oh man, I'm at least. Let me do some quick kind of napkin math.
I made about 8 hours into the game, and I'm
at least 16 or more hours in because I've done several 4-hour sessions on stream.
I kind of want to pick it back up. Like I'm kind of in that JRPG mode, especially coming off of Live Alive and with the other JRPGs coming out right now, and I'm like, man. I started Like a Dragon. I started on Xbox also, and got 8 hours in and had a good time. But then for whatever reason, which happens every single time with one of these games, I just fall off. Happened the same thing with Lost Judgment. Got like the exact same amount of time into it and fell off. I can see myself going back to that and having a good time. Yakuza Like a Dragon was a pretty cool game from the time I spent in it. And I know like Gary Whitta loves it too. So
yeah,
if you trust Gary Whitta.
Yeah, I did the preview of it. I liked it. Like I like the Yakuza games and what they're setting up for and what they've actually what they're setting up for, what their setup is. Same thing with Judgment though, but it's always that same thing. Both with Judgment and then more recent Yakuzas for me, where I play a bunch of hours and then I'm like, all right, well, I am just doing the same thing over and over again. Like I'm gonna move on to something else. I don't have the push, but I know how many people adore him. And I think it's great to have him on Plus, obviously, and then of course for them to be Like a Dragon be free, and then Pro Skater 1 and 2. I know how much people love. I know people love Little Nightmares. Like that's a really good month for August.
Yeah, and then like even though there's a lot of back and forth about like what the fuck is up with the tier system, I do think getting all the Yakuza games on the service is also a really good pull. And like I think
what's up with the tier system is that they are sitting there going, "Aren't you annoyed with being annoyed with this? Just give us the extra $3 a month.
That is kind of the thing.
Give us the extra $20 a month. Just it'll be done. You don't have to worry about it."
You buy yourself out of worrying. I do think, like, and I mentioned this on KFGD, like this premium was definitely more marketed as like the retro place, and I feel like they're really cheesing some of these remasters, because I'm like, the truth is your retro shit ain't got the sauce like that. No one wants these old dusted and busted games. You got to remaster them and throw them on there. And like, it kind of still fits the whole like they're older games vibe, but it's a little bit.
Nobody wants them because
the way they originally marketed, right? The way they originally marketed for premium was that it was going to be the classic titles that they made seem like it was going to be like the native PS1, PS2, PS3,
big polygons,
PSP games that you're either streaming or you can natively download. And then PS2, they kind of like threw to the wayside of like, oh well, we have some PS2 games that were already on the PS4 storefront. We'll just put them up there. And there's like some remasters of some PS2 games. We'll put them up to there too, even though they're native games that are native to the PS4 and the PS4 hardware and stuff like that.
Premium should have been dense polygonal boys only. That's like what,
and that's where I
was gonna get.
That's where I stand. And like because I don't think it's the fact that people don't want to play retro stuff. Like, of course, people want to play new stuff more than retro stuff. But like, I will always look at Xbox and Xbox Game Pass and Xbox backwards compatibility and how often I go over there to play old shit because they treat their old shit well and actually have a good catalog of old shit. The catalog of old shit on PlayStation is fucking terrible for PlayStation.
You don't want to play Toy Story 2 on the PS1?
Guess what? No. Guess what? No, I don't want to play Tekken 3.
I still need to hit up Loco Roco Carnival, whatever the fuck, but
oh yeah,
you really don't.
But like,
I heard it was okay.
Again, I envision. I'm gonna like go off on a speech if you leave.
Can we stop you or just let you go?
Let me go for like, if I go longer than 20 seconds, stop me. I envision a PS Plus premium that has Kingdom Hearts games, that has NBA Street Volume 2, that has like all the
Persona,
Shadow Colossus, Burnout 3, Persona, the old. I envision a PS Plus that has the PSP games that you loved as a kid, and not just these weird one-off. Oh, get Loco Roco because Greg Miller likes it. I envision.
I am the Loco Roco stan. He's the Pokemon guy. Okay,
show some respect.
The God of War PSP games were
20 seconds.
PS Now before they did this, and then they took them away, even though they advertised that PSP games were coming to the service. Like, what the shit?
The real question
there's only so many PSP games to bring to the service. They need to make a big deal when they bring Ghost of Sparta.
The service, and they took them away when they rebranded.
that was a different service. That was PlayStation Now. This is PlayStation Plus Plus.
PlayStation Plus shill. Jesus.
Move on.
All I need from Sony is for them to look up a list of top 30 PS2 games. Start picking from that list. All right? Stop giving me the fucking niche games. Sorry, Janet, go for it.
The only thing I'll say is, like, with this games for August, Little Nightmares. So why not Little Nightmares 2? What happened there? That's all I gotta say. Because also, we'll go play Little Nightmares 2. It's better than Little Nightmares 1. I mean, play this because you have it for, like, free if you have the service, whatever. Sure, it's a good game. I enjoyed it. Little Nightmares 2 is so much better than Little Nightmares 1.
Nightmares 2 on one of the monthly ones
was it?
I thought it was like earlier this year. I remember Roger being stoked about it because he loves that game and he was like,
"What a weird order." Okay, then I
think Roger played it a lot. That was like last year.
He was excited for more people to play it. That's what he was excited.
Okay. Gotcha. All right, then I stand down on my statement. But both are good games. Neither make sense story-wise, though. Just
Janet,
don't worry about
redeem every game. So if you go, you'd already have it though because you played it. Damn, so
I think I played it. I might have played it early too. I don't remember. I might have had a review code. I don't know. Yeah, but I'll redeem Like a Dragon just to have it. There's no way I'm replaying it on PlayStation though. It's just too much time I'd have to put in, I think.
That's fair. Let's talk about two indie games that were announced earlier this week. Sorry, not announced, reported earlier this week. GTA 6 and Black Panther. Both of them got separate big reports these last couple of days. I want to talk about our wish lists for these games. Let me start off talking about GTA 6 and some of the details that have leaked. I'm pulling from Joe Screbbles at IGN. GTA 6 will reportedly feature a female playable character in its campaign for the first time. Rockstar apparently plans to launch the game with a single city, a fictionalized Miami, but add more locations over time through updates. As part of a report on Rockstar by Bloomberg, sources close to the studio discussed the new female character, who will be Latina. The character will reportedly be part of a pair of bank robbers in a story influenced by real-life criminals Bonnie and Clyde. The game seems to be at least 2 years away. Of course, if you want the full breakdown of the story, go to KFGD. There's also the not Forbes, the Bloomberg article. Jason Schreier writes. He goes into crunch and all these things that the Rockstar culture that has gotten better over the years and how they've gone lengths to fix a lot of the shit that's been going on there, and how that has even been influencing their game design for GTA 6. They're talking about, hey, let's punch down less in some of our jokes and all this stuff. So that's kind of the scoop of it. Jumping out of that into a different report from Jeff Grubb. That's right, Jeff Grubb and Jason Schreier. They're going at it this week. They're trying to see who can get the most scoops. Jeff Grubb talked about a new Black Panther
Thor and
game.
Kratos.
Yeah, exactly. But give Jeff Grubb some prep time. I'm going to read directly from Mike Minotti at GamesBeat, who writes this. Electronic Arts is getting into the superhero game with a new title based on the Black Panther. According to a report from Giant Bomb member and former GamesBeat staffer Jeff Grubb on his daily news show, Game Mess Mornings. According to Grubb, the title is in early development and is a single-player affair in open world. Starting with the death of one Black Panther, players take on a character that is becoming the newest incarnation of the Wakandan hero. I'll let you guys decide which game you guys want to tackle first, but I want to know your wish list for these games. Greg Miller.
Black Panther. I hope we play as T'Challa. I know there was a lot of stuff going around, right? Of when this got announced, like, oh my god, huh? Like, obviously with Chadwick and MCU and like the Wakanda Forever trailer dropping, like, we got to get this character away from being dead. Like, we got to do this, we got to do that. I think so many people read that this Jeff Grubb thing of it has to be that T'Challa died and we are creating a new Black Panther and we're going to run that. I don't think that's the case. I think especially with everything that's going on, I think it's probably going to pick up with, T'Chaka, his dad died. Now you're T'Challa. And I think that's a really smart way to do it. Like, I think that's a really interesting way to do it, that you get imbibed with the Black Panther powers, right? And then it is you going off through a narrative, maybe through, more open world, choosing your missions and learning your abilities and getting new things and leveling up and being able to put those skill points in. Like, that sounds awesome. That sounds like a great time, a really fun experience. And as everybody knows, those are the kind of experiences I want out of my superhero games. Like, I want it to be a narrative. I want it to be focused. I prefer a single player. Like, I'd be all about that. Like, I'd be really stoked for that. And I hope that's what they do with it.
Janet, Black Panther.
It's tough because I struggle to get more creative than what Spider-Man does. Like, I do want to see this differentiate itself in a big way, and I have the same mental gripe with Wolverine. Even though I'm excited for Wolverine, I'm down for this Black Panther game, but I'm like, how is it gonna not just be that same structure of you're going from place to place, doing all these checkbox things? And don't get me wrong, Spider-Man does that super well, and I think why Spider-Man is elevated beyond being a game of boxes, because it very much is a very straightforward game. It's just they got the feel down in such a great way, and I struggle to picture a feel being that at that level. So then I'm like, okay, well, if it's not going to hit the locomotion at that degree, what can really make it something that's intriguing? And again, that's not saying it's not going to be a great game or that it's not exciting in the sense that I like the character, but I'm like, how is it going to have a secret sauce, and what could that secret sauce be? Of course, Greg points to narrative, and I do think there's power there, right? Even though I didn't like the Guardians of the Galaxy gameplay, I thought the narrative was super cool for the bit that I had played of it, and I want to see it through, even though I wasn't having fun. So I was like, I can't justify doing this. So I wonder what does that blend of both of those look like? And I'm just not quite sure.
Yeah, it's tough because my mind immediately went to locomotion as well, mainly for the fact that it is open world, and if I'm playing as a Black Panther in an open world, getting around the open world itself has to be fun, and I want the movement itself to be fun. But it can't be Spider-Man, and it won't be Spider-Man, right? Because Spider-Man, I think a big part of what makes that locomotion so fun is how good the web swinging is, and unless they do some big retconning, I don't think Black Panther is gonna have web slingers. And so that being the case, I want the feel of this game to be dope, right? Whether it is me jumping from location to location, or if it's open world city, for example, if it's an open world Wakandan city, me jumping from building to building, I need that to be satisfying. I need if it is wall running, if it is, oh, you are speeding through the streets of Wakanda, I want that to feel dope as hell. Or if you're if there are locations that are in a jungle, or if you're in some other city, or some other kinds of environments, well, no matter what it is, I think getting around in the feel of it has to be dope, and it has to kind of have that Spider-Man like quality of, oh, he's doing all these flips and tricks in the game, but it just feels natural as a player, whether that is just holding R2 or a parkour button or something along those lines. They got to figure out how to nail that feel for Black Panther. That's probably my biggest request for it.
You bring up parkour, like, yeah, in my head, like, this needs to be the smoothest feeling Assassin's Creed like game for Black Panther, to make it fun, to make it unique to like Black Panther's movement, thinking about that, how that connects to an open world. Like I think that's maybe something that I could see them realistically looking into for sure.
And I could see stealth stuff being cool too if they want to go the stealth route. I know every superhero game does that, but Batman and even Spider-Man does stealth. But I think of the opening scene to Black Panther, and it is T'Challa as Black Panther infiltrate, not the opening scene, but like one of the early things. T'Challa infiltrating, I think he's in like northern Nigeria, and there's a group of people being taken somewhere, and he has to go and he has to like get Lupita Nyong'o, and how like sneaky and how cool sneaky he was, like taking people out and all that shit. Sneaky. I think some of that stuff could be really cool to do on a gameplay level, especially if you're taking advantage of stuff that can be uniquely Black Panther. Yeah, I want that stuff to shine in there.
Yeah, 100%. And that makes sense. And I think they'll nail it. I shouldn't say that. I think you can nail that. Like, I know we want to always make jokes about it, but I enjoyed how Black Panther felt in Avengers. Like, I felt traversing as him made a lot of sense, right? And so to your point, if it was that the open world is Wakanda, and so you have like a city center, and then you have like the more outskirts rural sections. Like, I think if you put it into like a full-blown forest, right, you have plenty of trees and things to jump off and other formations to move from and go for. I think you in like rooftops and things like that, like Assassin's Creed, you could make that really work really well. And you can look at something like Assassin's Creed Valhalla, right, where it isn't all, building to building to building. Like, there's a lot of open space in there, but it was always fun to traverse.
Moving on to GTA 6, do you guys have any wish list items for that one?
Every single thing you could possibly imagine. Like, I want to be able to like customize and dig into a lot of like casual elements. One thing that was like, I think, I'm trying to see if it was mentioned in this write-up that you pulled from. I think it was, because it's still the Scrubbles one, but the like more interiors than like ever before. I'm like, yeah, let me walk around and like mess with stuff. Like, I love the sim elements of really any game that starts to introduce them, right? Not every game has sim elements, but I think ones that sort of gesture at them could benefit from like going and drinking and playing like like in the bar and like shopping in a way that feels more authentic. But yeah, that's what I want. I want it to feel like I'm not just living this character's story or this set of characters' story, but also getting to engage with the systems of a city that feels lively and lived in.
Yeah, that all sounds great to me. For me, though, it goes back to I want a really great narrative. Like, I think this is a cool setup. I personally, even though I guess it could be wrong or not, there could be more to it. I'm excited by the idea of there being one playable character. Like GTA 5, it was cool having the 3 characters for the most part, but I felt I left that game feeling less of a connection to them because of it. I think because I hopped around a bit more. Like, I'm excited that there will be one character, I hope, to play through, to go through, experience her story, see what that's all about. Like, that's, some of my most fun stuff from GTA. Obviously, there's always the sandbox stuff layered on top, but when you think of CJ, when you think of Grand Theft Auto 3, when you think of Vice City, right? Like, I think of Tommy and like the stories you had and the characters you met, and even Nico. Like, there's so much wrapped up in that I hope that's what it is. And I like the idea, like you talked about, Bless, right, that from what they've learned with Crunch and the problems they've had, like not punching down and maybe feeling like a different kind of Grand Theft Auto story. That sounds super exciting. I liked today on KindaFunny Games Daily, Janet, when you were like, you just hope it doesn't fall into the usual like gimmicks of having a Latina, right? Of like, oh, puta, yada, yada, blah. And like, I forget what it was they said a million times in Cyberpunk, but the exact same thing there, right? Of like, this is how we'll show it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
full Spanish voice acting moments. If you want to have a character that speaks Spanish, there should be scenes where they're speaking Spanish. And to other characters that respond in Spanish, I've never understood. Again, light interjections make sense, even swearing makes sense. But why am I tossing in random Spanish words to someone that also isn't a Spanish speaker? And then they're just like, again, they're always the 8 common Spanish word, like fiesta. I'm like, I've never said the word fiesta in my whole fucking life. I've never heard it. And again, everyone's like has different experiences and things. I don't want to act like my one perspective is the perspective, but from many different speakers, I have heard these complaints. And we see there's a reason we keep seeing this character every time, and it's because it's a very, very tired trope, and almost every Latin character does it in games. It's hard to think of ones that don't. Even like God, what's his name? Manny from The Last of Us 2 also fell into that, even though I liked Manny fine. Also, Manny had other tropes going on too. So I know this game will obviously be tropey in the sense of like you're not going to back away from like the crime trope because it's GTA. It's
gonna be Miami as hell too.
Right, like I get that, you're not gonna leave that, like that's every GTA character. So I'm not asking for like I don't think I'm asking for anything unreasonable. I'm just hoping that they don't do that again. It's weird. I don't know why it always happens. It doesn't happen with any other character either. It's not like a French character that's just randomly saying French words here and there.
I don't know about that. I definitely think that
Let me tell you about Frenchie and the boys. For me,
the boys is a whole other thing.
Go for it, Barrett.
I really, because people are concerned that the game is going to go too woke because of just the idea of a female protagonist. I hope they lean into that. I hope guns only shoot rainbows and you only fight people with pillows, and just really pisses off a lot and weirdos on the internet.
I need like people's pronouns like
right?
appear above their heads.
Yeah, I really need everybody to introduce themselves and have their pronouns floating above their heads. I really need all of that just to really fucking annoy a lot of people who are like way too concerned just because of the idea of a female protagonist, which is just so insane in 2022, where people are like, man, they're going too woke. Female protagonist 2022, that's too woke. What the hell, bro?
To that point too, and I had to dig back into the report because there was a lot in there. My read on it was that I think there are going to be two protagonists. I think you are going to be playing as both the Bonnie and the Clyde in the situation. And so like for the people that are complaining there, it's like, come on, bro. Like ignore that. But also
I can't ignore it, Blessing. I can't. The fact that Cassandra exists, even though I chose to play as Alexius, I'm so upset about it. Why give me that option, Bless? It's too woke.
Too woke. Piggybacking off of the conversation though about representation too, one of the things that one of my biggest wishes for it, and this is all feed into narrative as well, is that the writing is more grounded. I've liked GTA stories in the past, and I think I think a lot of them have been good. Even GTA 5, I really like the story there, but I look at Red Dead Redemption 2 as oh damn, like they're really going for it here in narrative in a lot of ways, in terms of exploring that character, in terms of exploring life in the Western world, in terms of exploring the relationships that you make back at camp, and really building this.
Also being drunk.
Also being drunk and having a good time in that one mission. They really took their time to explore those characters and let those characters grow. And then when things come to fruition, things really pop off in that game. I could see them taking that same level of effort and putting it into GTA and not making it this thing of, oh yeah, the way we make this game story entertaining is by making it goofy and by making it over the top. Of course, give me goofy moments. It's a game where I'm probably going to run into a million people while I'm driving to my destination. Yeah, get goofy with it. But also, I want to see that similar level of, okay, no, we know what we have here in terms of technology and like making an open world that is filled with depth and filled with maybe like all references to Miami culture and all this stuff. What I want, right, and this kind of leads back into the representation aspect. For me, playing GTA San Andreas as a kid was such a moment, and I'll even extend that into playing GTA 5 as Franklin. I really enjoyed having characters in those games that reflected me to some extent. Of course, those characters very chopey. Those characters far from perfect, especially in San Andreas, where the whole thing was about gang culture and about the LA riots and all that stuff. For me, that was still a special experience, and I would love to see that kind of thing recontextualized for where we're at in 2022, and like done in a way that is mature, done in a way that feels authentic to what that culture is, right? And I think they can do that with Miami culture and with Latinx culture, right? Like I want to see this be a beacon of, oh shit, look at how they represented us in this. This is the shit, right? Like if I can talk to Jane, if I can talk to my friend Yami, if I can talk to any of my friends and them go, dude, GTA 6 is the shit because this is how they reference like this thing that only I get, right? Like I think those could be the special things about it. And so for me, that's probably at the top of my wish list, with it being what it is.
Okay.
Now it's time for PlayStation Picks. That's where we talk about what's coming out this week and the one thing each of us have been playing. Regarding the drop this week, we're getting Train Valley Console Edition for PS4. That's coming Wednesday, July 27th. Build railways, manage traffic, and stay accident-free. Play in Europe, America, Japan, and USSR in 1830 to 2020. Complete the story mode from the Gold Rush of 1849 to the first manned space flight, and then explore the random mode, management, construction, trains. Welcome to Train Valley. I pulled that directly from the Steam description, and usually they're better written than that.
Welcome to Train Valley.
Welcome to Train Valley. That was not the best description. But...
Take a ride on through Train Valley. This looks fun. I like to lay down little tracks and let the trains go. You know, the only reason that I couldn't continue with track-oriented games is because the last one I played was Mini Metro or whatever, and I just, man, the city I designed was fucking uninhabitable. Worst place to live. No one could get anywhere. It just fell apart really quick, but this seems pretty chill.
Oh, yeah, if you're a train person, it looks like one to check out. And then we also got Digimon Survive. That is coming to PS4. Digimon? No, that's a different one. Oh, this is coming Friday.
Stop it. Come on.
Barry, what's the Digimon thing?
I got you in Digimon 2.
All
is that actually how it goes?
And the boys and girls, hey Digimon. Champions of the digital world.
Wait, no, I was thinking, what about the one that's like Digimon? Digital monsters?
Digimon are the champions.
Yeah, that's the one I remember.
But the other one's the one that I go to because it's so nice and joyous. I always hear people talk about Digimon Survive and this specific series of Digimon games and how they're fucking great. And then every time I look at them, I'm like, nah. No.
Yeah, I will say I watched the trailer and I was like, I'm gonna include it because one, there's not that much coming out this week, but then also I'm sure Digimon fans
are really into it.
Cool.
Yeah. Shout out to I rewatched the original run of Digimon a couple of years ago. That show still holds up, Les. Let me tell you.
Oh,
it
yeah,
still kicks ass. Yeah.
Hell yeah. Janet, what'd you pick to play on PlayStation this week?
I played Mothman 1966 on Greg Miller's recommendation.
Whoa! I don't like the energy you're bringing in.
Yeah, you're bringing in some energy right now.
This is the energy that I have to give. So do it with it what you will. I don't know. You can't leave because you're on the show with me. So I don't know. Deal with it.
Sure.
But yeah, I played it on Greg Miller's recommendation. I streamed it actually too, and I was like, Greg told me to play this game. Also, watch Isaiah play Stray. It was a very long headline. And yeah, I played through it. I beat it. So shout out to that. I don't know if I logged it yet on GG app, but credits were rolled. I liked it overall. I think if you like story games, you like those. I think Greg made a great comparison last week with it is a choose your own adventure book. If you like that, dig in. There's some really fun, spicy stuff that goes down in terms of like the drama. I will say, and it's funny because like, again, when you play a lot of these games, you kind of know what could happen. I was like, Greg, did you beat this game yet? He's like, I hadn't beat it yet. And I'm like, cool. Do you think it could fall apart? And he's like, I think it'll be fine. And I did.
And it was fine. You and I have a text conversation about this. It's like the ending's not great. No, but it didn't at all ruin the ride that I had.
Yes, it did not ruin everything, but it was like, oh man, it was rough too because I was like streaming it and people were watching it and people were into it. At least that were watching the stream, right? You can argue again. You probably would only come if you wanted to like see that kind of game or hang out with me. But when it got to the end, everyone was kind of like, is that it? And then there's like a little something extra at the end that kind of helps drive it home, but then kind of adds to more questions. It was a lot at the end of it, but overall I enjoyed it. The only other gripes I have with it are, since it is kind of like choose your own adventure book style, much like if you've read any of those books, when you fail in those books, you have to like go back and do it again because like the point is also to read the book. So it does follow that structure, which at times can be a little frustrating and repetitive, but generally I did like the integration of sim elements. There's a moment where genuinely unironically, again, this is what I like to do in games. They were like, organize these shelves. And I was like, fuck yeah. Where do we want to put the cans?
I'm on it.
What do we want? I'm like, where do we put the cans? Where do we put the bottles? Do we put the bottles up top because they're like more fragile, but then they'll fall from a greater height? Maybe it should be at the bottom, but now the cans got to go at the bottom because they're probably the heaviest thing on here. And I was living for that. And then when you this is very early in the game. It's a short game. When you organize them, it mentions like, oh, you go, it kind of has this interesting like narrative voice of very much like there's a narrator and then there's dialogue and internal like conversation. And it's like, you go to organize the shelves just to have like some semblance of control of your life. And I'm like, that shit hits because like that's why I clean my apartment, just to feel something, you know? And then when I organize the shelves, they're like, you organized it, but like your shit's still fucked up. And I'm like, this game gets it. It knows the demons I'm fighting. Let's go. So I was into that. The platinum is not too hard. I have considered getting it. I have not deleted it because I'm thinking about getting the platinum. My beef with the platinum is there is a trophy that's like have a good run at this very specific kind of solitaire game. And
it's not just normal ass solitaire.
Yes, it's like a specific style. So
Wait,
basically,
is it
like
Spider Solitaire? The best solitaire?
I don't know.
They called something like
Dude,
impossible solitaire.
that's
I love
solitaire on
Spider
easy
Solitaire.
mode. Blessing, come on, man.
So I'm not going to explain
needed
the
it as a kid.
entire
I was
setup
dumb.
of it just for sake of time, but I'll tell you the thing that gets like tough. You're kind of putting the cards in a certain. Actually, it's not too long. You have a card and it's like you can go up or down. So it's like, okay, you have a 4, you can put down a 5 or a 3 from the pile. Only a few cards are revealed at a time. If you don't have a qualifying card, you have to pull from like the deck and you have to guess, is it going to be red or is it going to be black? And if you get it wrong, instant fail.
It's over.
And the trophy,
Wait, you have to
the trophy is
guess?
to have. Yes, and the trophy is to have only like X amount of cards left. And I've gotten kind of close. I sent Greg one of my failures where I'm just like, and I'm like, it's such a randomness to it that I'm like, I could see this being a real pain in the ass to get. So TBD on that. I haven't deleted it yet though.
I would like. I told you to look for a cheat if there's some kind of like way to get around it. Like I would never sit there and do that.
I might sit there and do it. It is fun to play that game though, to the game's credit. But I just think the trophy requirement is a little intense for how random it is, in my opinion. I think they could have lowered it by at least a couple cards and we wouldn't have lost a beat. But yeah, Mothman 1966, if you like story shit, go play it. I spent the $8 on it. You know, I was like one of the normies. I paid for the game and I downloaded it and I'm like, no regrets. This is cool. I'm good with it. Looking forward to their other projects. But yeah, solid game. That's what I picked on PlayStation this week.
Hell yeah! I might. I kind of want to check it out. I think I might be in the mood for something like that. I also I booted up Citizen Sleeper because I've heard a lot of people talk about.
It's Citizen Sleeper is good. I haven't finished it, so I don't know if it falls apart again.
I started the first few seconds and I was like, let me hold off for a second. Like I need to save this for when I'm in the mood for this kind of game because it reminds me a little bit of Disco Elysium because that game had a lot of rating and it seems like Citizen Sleeper is gonna have a lot of rating.
There's a lot of reading, but the writing is good.
Okay, gotcha. For me, for what I picked to play on PlayStation this week, I got a couple, right? Roller Drome I talked about on Gamescast. I give the preview there, but to give the quick synopsis on that, or not even synopsis, give my quick thoughts on that. The game is pretty cool. Thumbs up for me for the first 6 levels that I played. Pretty dope. Check out Gamescast for more conversation about that.
Do you think the ending could fall apart at the end?
No, I think the only way.
Do you think the fact that you don't roller skate impacts your opinion on the game?
Great point.
I mean,
you don't really know
that's
what
a really
you're
good
talking
point.
about.
Yeah.
I'm like, he's a roller
think it
skate. He
really,
doesn't
like,
like
holds it
cats.
back,
Why do we have this guy here?
Yeah.
You're right. People act like I hate cats. First of all, it's like I like cats a lot. Like I know.
I'm sorry, I didn't mean to unearth something.
Petting my friends' cats, I know is different from owning a cat. I'm sure. But like, I really like their cats, and I had a dog growing up. He died. All right,
What's
I had
dog's
a
name?
pet. Listen, my dad named my dog, so don't judge. His name was Smart because he was a smart dog. Yeah,
That's cute. I like
That's
that.
cool. Yeah, you can rock it.
he then
That's
had
smart.
a puppy that I got to name. I named the puppy Clever.
Oh, that's
cute
cute.
too.
Yeah.
That's very cute.
Very clever, Blessing. Anyway,
Thank
he's gonna give Roller Drum a 3 out of 5. It would have been a 5 out of 5 if it was a skateboarding game, you know.
I mean, honestly,
It's
if
all
I had a
wheels,
skateboard
bless.
to the game, it would be fantastic. But no, the only way it could fall apart for me is like if the difficulty gets fucking crazy somehow. But right
Okay,
now, it
cool.
seems pretty good. I also finished Escape Academy last night with Yami. Let me tell you,
Congratulations, you escaped, or I don't know. No spoilers.
no
actually care
spoilers,
about
no
the story,
spoilers. Greg told me that this was an easy puzzle game. Greg, you must be the secret puzzle poppy because that game was kicking our ass. We were struggling
like
so
every
hard.
puzzle or the end or what?
Not every puzzle. There are probably like 3 or 4 moments though where we were legitimately like, "This is impossible." Like there's no
Finishing games
solution
is
to
brutal, man. Don't do it. Do not recommend finishing these games.
Like this game was kicking my ass at some points. And I also think that might have been the pressure of playing with somebody else, because I know you're playing alone.
Yeah.
And so
like,
you're
just sit there and stare at it forever.
Yeah, like you're probably taking it at your own pace, whereas me and Yami playing together, we're so used to playing Operation Tango, and Operation Tango is paced in a way where you kind of feel like you're constantly getting the solutions. It's pretty easy to kind of glean, okay, what are you supposed to do? Cool. Now the actual hard process is doing the thing right. Whereas Escape Academy, the process is figuring out what the solution is. Like, there's not really any toughness in execution. It is more, what do they want from me? What do they want me to do? Once you figure it out, then it takes a few seconds to actually do the solution. And so there are multiple moments where me and Yami are stuck in a room and we're like, what the fuck is it? And I think the pressure of knowing that somebody else is depending on you at the same time as we're depending on each other makes us feel the time pass. But like there were a few times where like we did run out of time, and like most of the time we started over because we didn't want to do like the +5 minutes or whatever that it gives you, because we want the good grade.
Sure.
The last puzzle, we got to the final part of like the last step to solving the puzzle, and we had like 60 seconds left, and we could not figure it. We were so mad that we were not able to clutch it at the last second. And then once we realized what it actually was, we were like, fuck, man, we could have gotten it if we tried harder. That's a good puzzle game.
I can't. I'm gonna.
It's like you're basically trying to figure out like a code, essentially. Though the one you slacked me was one that took us a lot of time.
That was the one that fucking, when I finally got it, I was like, God damn it. Yeah. God damn it. Well, this is a mechanic I never knew the game even thought I could do.
That's one where me and Yami were arguing a little, not arguing, but it was like we were on two different wavelengths of, she knew where we needed to go, but she kept pointing up there, and I was like, no, that's not it. Like, there's no way that's it. How the fuck would we get up there? That's not how that works. Yeah, like that's why like how does that work? And then I realized it because I'm like, oh, I see what it is. I tried explaining it to her, and she was like, what are you talking about? And then I did it myself, and she was like, oh, okay, we're both right here. That's a fun game. I enjoyed Escape Academy. It's not like, I'm not even gonna put a score to it, but like, you know, it's not a puzzle game that I'm like, this is one of the best puzzle games ever, but it's a puzzle game that I'm glad I played, and I can't wait for the DLC. Actually, I look forward to the DLC. Had a really good time with it. If you're somebody that just likes, if you like puzzles, if you like escape rooms, I think it's definitely one to check out. It's a good time.
Is there a word on the timeline for the DLC, by the way?
They have a roadmap, and it seems like every season they have something happening, but I want to say they have 2 DLC packs. I think one of them is in...
I'm opening it up. I have another thing. So DLC 1, Escape from Anti-Escape Island, is fall 2022. Yeah. It includes 5 new escape rooms. Free major update is coming early 2023. No details on that, but it looks like it's competitive because it's got a trophy and then 2 sides competing to get to it. And then DLC 2, Escape from the Past, is coming out spring 2023. Includes 5 new escape rooms.
And 5 is a lot. The core, the base game is like, it's 13, and so 5 is a good handful.
How long did it take you to beat it? Also,
not that long. I don't know, like maybe 5 hours, maybe 6 hours, somewhere around that. One of the things that I really wanted, one of the puzzles or one of the escape rooms is kind of framed as a competitive thing, but you're facing off against an NPC, and really you're just doing it against the clock, like you're doing all the other puzzles. But as we were doing that one, I was like, yo, this would actually work in multiplayer. And I'm sure, from what it sounds like off that roadmap, I wonder if that's what they're going to do. I wonder if it is going to be you and a opponent are solving the same puzzle or same escape room at the same time. That's going to be a fun time. And so I can't wait for that. Greg, what'd you pick to play on PlayStation this week?
I was boring. I'm playing a lot of stuff for review that I can't talk about, so I put down WWE 2K22. We did the KFW finale on Monday, and once a season finale. Once that was done, I felt like I could just play the game again and not have to worry about like rings or things like that. So I've been doing my faction every day, getting in there. I got RVD now. Here's KFW. Yeah. I got Rob Van Dam from the latest pack. I got Ronda Rousey from the second to latest pack, and I haven't had time with all the other stuff we've been doing and reviewing to go in and do that. And so I've been running just wrecking shop as RVD, man, doing coast to coast across the ring, having a great time out there. That's my faction mode. I'll tell you what, I wish we talked about it at launch, Bless, when you were playing it and you were into it, right? I wish it would give me just straight up one-on-one matches more, because like there's different ladders and there's different things, and so there's always like, all right, now you're in a 6-man tornado tag thing, which is like anarchy and like anything can happen. But I do find myself losing still getting the points that I can redeem for more card packs or whatever, and then jumping right back into it. Like, even though I don't like, and lately on some of the other weekly trees and stuff, I've been getting like, all right, it's a ladder match 1-on-1, it's a Hell in a Cell 1-on-1, whatever. I'm getting more 1-on-1 stuff, and I'm getting challenged by him. Now, granted, I'm super rusty from not having played in a long time. I'm having a great time with it. I still love WWE 2K22, but I've been playing it a special way that I don't want to talk about, and I can't talk about because it's embargoed. But by the time you get to this on Thursday, you can go to the KindaFunny TikTok and find out how I've been playing it, and probably see it on my socials as well, and you'll understand what I've been talking about. But WWE 2K22 is still great.
Blink twice if you have a PSVR 2 and you're playing 2K in VR. He's not blinking. His eyes are wide.
Well, confirm that's not VR.
My thing with factions, like my request for it, would be that, like, though I think the reason I fell off is because it got very repetitive with the challenges, because
for sure,
based on the type of wrestler you pick, the challenges tend to be the same match to match to match, and so you're always doing do 10 high flying moves, do 5 light attacks, do XYZ. It doesn't change. I wish instead they would have had it be individual based on the what match you're doing, and have it be like, cool, throw
them through the wall, throw them off the top of the cell.
Yeah, like if it had more of that variety, I think I would have stuck with it way longer, because I really like that mode. It's really satisfying to go through and get the cards for certain wrestlers, and get excited when you unlock Undertaker or whoever you get.
Yeah, it's such a weird thing where it's like I'm still jonesing when I open up the WrestleMania cards for trying to get Stone Cold, to have Stone Cold on my roster, even though I could just go play in the exhibition matches I want as Stone Cold, but I want him in the fucking mode, and I want to level up his card, and I want to do all the dumb stuff that's in there. It's like such an ingenious way to keep playing, and that game is still so much fun to play, period. But that's it for me. And ladies and gentlemen, that's it for this episode of PS I Love You XOXO. Remember, each and every Friday, you can get a brand spanking new episode of PS I Love You XOXO. If you want to go the extra mile, you can go to patreon.com/KindaFunnyGames. Over there, you can write in to be part of the show. You can get the show ad-free. You can get the post-show we're about to do, where we're going to answer Cozy Bear's question. And of course, you can get the show one day early on Thursday. You can watch us record it live. You could get it later on patreon.com/KindaFunnyGames. It's all there. However, if you have no bucks to toss our way, please subscribe, like, and share on youtube.com/KindaFunnyGames, roosterteeth.com, and podcast services around the globe each and every week. As I said, TikTok, KindaFunny, at KindaFunnyGames, or my socials when it's up and I'm not on a plane or whatever. I'm not sure what tomorrow looks like. But there will be something that will matter to you, a PlayStation fan. Something to check out that I think is pretty cool. But that's all I can say about it.
Uncharted 5.
That's how it is. Yes, Uncharted 5 is Nathan Drake sitting there with a PlayStation and a screen, and you can play your actual games off your PlayStation 5. Ladies and gentlemen, we got a post show to do. But until next time, it's been our pleasure to serve you.